Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros. This is the Fantasy Football Sunday live stream. It is me, Joey P. Joe Pisapia. With me today is my boy, the prop prophet, Andrew Erickson. And we are going to answer your questions, your starts, your sits, your life questions, everything you might have. Drop them in the chat, and we're going to take you through for the next 2 hours. Andrew and I are here for hour one. And of course, today we are brought to you by a very special sponsor, and that is Jack Links. Which is delicious, by the way. Take a good look at the packaging right there. This is the Jack Links jerky. As you can see, the package is already open because I was eating it last week already. And the last time you saw a guy in a blazer eating beef jerky, I don't know when that might be, but it might be again today because I've been up since 6 a.m, already working. Andrew Erickson was up at 4. We're very, very busy people here at Fantasy Pros, but don't forget, there's no better way to enjoy the game day than with some Jack Links protein snacks, because we're all looking for the healthier snacks. You sit there like Andrew Erickson, stuffing your face full of chips all day. No. You want the protein. From jerky to beef sticks to steaks and more, Jack Links delivers 100% beef in a wild assortment of delicious flavors. I like the teriyaki one myself, but you go find out your own favorite. It's just what you need to help feed your wild side. So shop now at jacklinks.com or find it at your local retailer. I actually saw they have a whole end cap at my grocery store for just the Jack Links, which is great. I know you're a fan of Jack Links, aren't you, Andrew? You're a beef jerky kind of fella, aren't you, at the end of the day?
Yep. Great high protein snack. Perfect for post-workout meals. Love it.
That's right. Getting swole. Andrew Erickson always trying to get a little swole there on the program. Of course, Chris is running the show today for us backstage. He is wearing his hoodie. He's got his pumpkin spice latte. He is in full basic mode this Sunday morning here. That's it. Just sitting there. He's got his hoodie on. He's all snuggly warm. He's going to watch some football, watch the games, and hang out with us and run the stream. Lucky for us, he's here. Also, let's remember to drop those questions in the chat. A lot to get through. We're going to hit some quick news here at the top. Jalen Waddle is out, Andrew Erickson. How does this affect, if at all, this Miami attack, which has been prolific? But Jalen Waddle's a big part of it. Let's not forget. So Waddle's out. Raheem Mostert set up for a good game. Tyreek 2000 obviously is a spectacular play as always. But do you think Miami could struggle a little bit now that they're down Waddle?
I think it increases the risk that they don't necessarily put up, 35 points against the Broncos defense. I mean, the Broncos still have one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL, Patrick Surtain. So can he, if they're really just honing in on throwing everything at Tyreek Hill, then it's Braxton Berrios, Durham Smythe that are going to beat the Broncos. I mean, if I'm the Broncos, like that's what I'm going to do. Like make those guys beat me and throw everything at Tyreek Hill and try to stop him. So yeah, I think it does matter a lot for Tua. Tua's not a mobile quarterback, so he has to get it done through the air for him to put up fantasy production. He didn't really produce last week against the Patriots because Tyreek Hill had an okay game, still scored a touchdown,
Right.
but wasn't super involved like in week 1. So again, I don't expect Miami's offense to sputter because they can run the football. Again, Raheem Mostert set up really well here. He's an RB1 this week, I think, with all the injuries they have. So I think they're going to be able to run the football still. So I think overall Miami's offense will be okay, but maybe you don't see this massive game necessarily from Tua Tagovailoa and potentially Tyreek Hill.
The Saints, by the way, placed Jamal Williams on IR this weekend, which means it's Kendre Miller season. Andrew Erickson, you must be excited.
I am. I hope that this is the spot for him, that he gets an opportunity. Again, Kamara's coming back next week, so it makes sense to give the rookie a decent look here. Like, he's fully healthy. He should be good to go. And, Tony Jones, I know what he is. He's just a replaceable running back, not anything special. And Taysom Hill gets sprinkled in. I think that if you're hurting a tight end, I think there are much worse options than Taysom Hill this week, just because you can get some carries, you get some red zone looks. So if you're throwing your hands at the waiver wire with tight end, you're just like, I don't know who to start. Just pick up Taysom Hill and throw him in and see what happens.
Love it.
Roll
in
the
DFS.
dice.
On DK, on DFS, he is so stinking cheap. And I think you're right. I think he's going to have some rushing equity and touchdown equity in that game. Deion Jackson's not going to have any equity. He was dropped by the Colts. That was fascinating. I don't know if anybody saw that coming. A lot of people actually thought, well, Deion Jackson's in line for a good game. Trey Sermon gets elevated. I did not have that on my bingo card for 2023. So the Colts continue to be a very strange organization here. A lot of strange things happening. But again, this is football. This is why we're here. We're trying to answer all the questions for you. Let's get to some of those questions because you've got questions and we've got answers. Let's start with Nate Charland. Shaheed, Tank Dell, or Reynolds in the full PPR. I just had Derek Brown on the TV show and he was talking up Rashid Shaheed. Tank Dell also good last week. It feels like Gibbs is going to get a lot more workload than Reynolds, but where do you stand if you had to only pick one, Erickson?
I'm going with Josh Reynolds. I mean, I like this game a
Really?
lot. Yeah, I mean, he's the number 2
Okay.
receiver on the Detroit Lions. Have confidence that Jared Goff's gonna get it done at home, and I think that game shoots out. So, for me, Josh Reynolds has been a producer back-to-back weeks. I like it a
True.
lot.
True. All right, JSA73. Do I ride the hot hand and go with Hunter Henry or stick with Dallas Goddard?
I mean, I don't know how many points are gonna be scored in Jets-Patriots. It's like 35-point total. It's supposed to rain. It's just gonna
Oh,
be
not
gross.
supposed to. It is raining. It's been raining
Yeah,
for 24 hours plus
it's
here. I can tell
like,
you that in
part of
Georgia.
the reason Henry's been good is because he keeps catching touchdowns. Like,
Mhm.
that's a big part of his game, and I this game's probably gonna be like 10-3, and it's probably gonna be a defensive touchdown, so I'm still playing Goddard. Goddard was fine last week, so yeah, Goddard.
I would play Goddard too, but here's the thing. If Hunter Henry has another touchdown, you got to trade one of these guys because somebody's hurting at tight end. I mean, somebody's unhappy about Kyle Pitts. Somebody's miserable about, some other tight end they drafted isn't performing. Like, you go out there and shop the tight end. There'll be an injury, I'm sure, today. That's what the NFL has been for us so far. Greg Jesse, ride with Amon-Ra St. Brown in his injury or play Chris Godwin in the full PPR. This is a tough one because I think Godwin's a decent play, but I think here's the problem is you've got Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's an extraordinary talent that even with the toe, you don't want to take off the field.
I'm playing Amon-Ra St. Brown. If he's
So
out there, I'm
you're
playing him.
not worried about the injury or just you can't take that talent off the field if he's on the field?
I mean, I'm not gonna over evaluate my ability to know exactly how his performance is gonna be impacted by his injury that I know nothing about. Like, we can try to play doctor all we want, but we're not Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, he's built differently, and if he's out there, I think he's still gonna produce. So, I've seen I too many times I've thought that I could project how a guy was gonna play because of his injury, and then he just goes out and balls out, and I don't think that's a good process. So, if he's playing, I'm playing him.
All right, Chris Jack. I agree for what it's worth. I don't know if it's worth anything, but I agree. Chris Jackson, start two. Godwin, Kelly, Mostert, PPR. I think Mostert's got to be in there. And I got to be honest with you. After watching Minnesota just get torched by DeAndre Swift at will 10 days ago, I don't know how you don't start Kelly. Like, I don't want to take Godwin out of my lineup, but Erickson, I feel like those two backs are the guys that got to get in there.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't feel confident starting Kelly this week, then you should just get rid of him off your roster. Like this is one of these weeks where it's like it's go time. Like this is his shot to really show that he can handle the workload with Austin Eckler banged up. Obviously, the matchup last week was just really bad and didn't work in his favor, but this week the matchup is really good. And Josh Kelly has been good, even just the carries that he's gotten. He's been really efficient this year in both games, even though he didn't put up a high counting total last week against the Titans. Nobody runs on the Titans. Everybody runs on the Vikings. Like the stat that I pulled was last. So right now, currently, Josh Kelly
All
ranks
right,
third in
everyone
the
be ready.
NFL.
Erickson's going to pull out his stats.
Pulling
Chris,
them
be
out,
ready to dump out just in case.
pulling them
Go
out.
ahead.
Josh
Dig out your
Kelly's
stats.
third in the NFL in success rate rushing the football. DeAndre Swift is second because he faced the Vikings last week. Josh Kelly's already ranked third, and now he gets to play the Vikings that got DeAndre Swift all the way to the top.
That's
It's easy.
easy math where I'm
It's
from.
easy.
Also, how sad is it going to be when Jerome Ford faces the Titans this week and somebody who spent, I don't know, 75, 80 bucks on him is going to be miserable. Like, I feel like that's coming.
They're going to
And
be they'll be more sad when he doesn't have the starting job in a month from now because of the schedule, the bye week, the 49ers. It's going to
so
go
who
downhill.
has that
It's
at
going
the
to
end of the day?
unravel.
Is it Kareem Hunt? Is it Pierre Strong? Or is it just this gross committee all year?
I mean, I think it's probably going to be Kareem Hunt.
I think it's gross committee, to tell you the truth, which is even more upsetting, possibly.
I
But
mean,
we'll
none of these
see.
guys are Nick Chubb. Like that's the thing. You can't copy and
No,
paste what
no.
he does in this offense.
And you can't copy and paste what Jerome Ford did Monday night to Sunday. I think too many people are doing that. That's a bad thing. By the way, somebody who did put stats up this past week, Deebo Samuel. And in case you didn't know it, we're giving away a Deebo Samuel jersey right here, thanks to Betting Pros, our other amazing channel. Make sure you go over to the Betting Pros YouTube channel and subscribe there as well. But if you subscribe to Fantasy Pros and you comment below with a question, maybe like the stream too, it wouldn't kill you to like the stream. You just might win this bad boy right here. Again, don't forget to click that little bell till it goes ding for notifications to know if you're the big winner. But this Deebo Samuel jersey is not going to give away itself. So subscribe, drop the comment, and throw your hat in the ring to win that bad boy. By the way, Erickson and I are here working. I've been working all morning. Erickson's been working feverishly as well. Our good pals, though, our colleagues are out having a fun old time. I know they're watching the live stream today. They're down there. I think they're in Florida where it's sunny. It's raining where I am. It's miserable. But I want to give a shout out to our dev team and our people who are hanging out enjoying life, enjoying better weather than we are. We love you guys. You give us the greatest tools in the history of the universe. So I just want to shout out the gang. I know they're all down there watching the stream and hanging out. We love you guys. I can't wait to see you after football season where we all get together and play a little flag football or something else. But hope you're enjoying all your time that you have now that football's here and we have none of it. So love you guys. All right. We'll talk again soon. Let's get to the rest of your questions here. Let's get to Brian Bell's question. Njoku or Laporta? This is a tricky one. I think Njoku is a good start this week. But, man, I really like the trend of Laporta. Erickson, what say you?
Njoku.
Still Njoku. I think it's probably right, but it's getting close. Again, Brian, if Njoku and Laporta have good games here again, you might want to consider shopping somebody. Buys are coming up. Moves are there to be made. Daryl Payne. Hello, TikTok influencer. That's me, by the way, in case you didn't know. That's right. The older I get, the more I become a TikTok influencer, much to the chagrin of Chris, too. He hates the fact that I'm just blowing up on the TikTok right now because the kids love me. The kids just love me. That's right. So Madison or Rashad White or Kelly today in the half PPR. I mean, this is a slam dunk Kelly start for me, right, Erickson? Let's help Daryl out.
I actually like Madison more if I had to start one of Madison or Kelly.
No.
Why?
No, because all those stats you just threw out there about Kelly.
What happened?
You took your stats out for everybody to see, and now you're going to put him away when it comes to Madison, who's done nothing so far. They're going to throw the ball a ton in this game.
Okay, so what happens when the Chargers fall
down? You just made me go full Skip Bayless.
No. What happens?
I'm mad at you for making me do that.
Who wins this game? Who wins Chargers Vikings? Who do you think wins? Vikings?
I think the Vikings win, but I think it's a 60+ point total.
Okay. So what if the Vikings jump out to a 14-0 lead? Does that mean Kelly's involved in the passing game? Like, what's going to happen?
No lead is safe with this team. I think Kelly.
But what I'm saying is he's not involved in the passing game like Eckler. So he has a floor where he can bottom out if they're not running the football effectively.
But he also has massive touchdown equity in this game today.
So does Madison. He's on the same offense. He's on the better offense that's more likely to win the game. He has a safer floor. That's why all things.
Daryl, I thought we could help you, but clearly we can't. We're split. So now you have to. Daryl, this is where you decide. Do you want to go with the, prestigious prop profit, or do you want to go with the TikTok influencer? Now it's up to you, Daryl. Let us know how it works out. I want to hear from you on Twitter or X or whatever the hell it is today. All right, let's get to David. Half point PPR, Hall or Gus? I'm going with Breece Hall here in this one. I know the weather's crappy. I don't care. He was chirping. He wants the football more. I think him, Javonte Williams, week 3 is the breakout here where the training wheels come off and we get to see them in their full glory. What say you, Gus Edwards or Breece Hall?
Yeah, I'll go with Breece Hall.
All right. Finally, we're back together. See, Andrew and I are friends again. I hate it when mommy and daddy fight. It's fun to be friends. All right. Stephen Kane, Stroud or Ritter? Stroud's at back-to-back 300 games. I know Ritter was good last week, but I got to go Stroud here, right?
Yeah, Stroud for me.
Okay. It's Casso reactions. I'm not sure what that means, but it sounds cool. Swift or Pacheco in the PPR? Now, Swift is going to play, but who would you rather start? Swift off that huge game or Pacheco with that huge potential lopsided victory coming for the Kansas City Chiefs?
Pacheco. Easy.
Why easy? Because I don't think that's obvious to the people out there.
Okay, the DeAndre Swift, Kenneth Gainwell's back. He's playing the Buccaneers. Like, this is a totally different layout for him than it was on Thursday night. Like, we're never going to see that again from DeAndre Swift. I'm sorry. Should have sold high. That's what I would do right now. But with the case with Pacheco, he's playing the Bears. Mm-hmm. Like, Rashad White was horrible in week 1 and it was good last week because he played the Bears. like people were ready to bench Rashad White for Sean Tucker because he played bad in week 1. And then he faced the Bears. And we're all back in good graces with Rashad White. So,
well, I wouldn't say all of us. He's still not in my good graces.
I'm just saying. So. He's looked a little bit better than he was 2 weeks ago because he faced the Bears.
No blanket statements here. Speaking of blankets, Chris just put on a third blanket. So now he's got the hoodie, he's got several blankets and his latte. Man, he has gone full fall. I mean, he is a step away. You know what? He probably spent a really long day yesterday at the pumpkin patch, just going through stuff, getting his gourds. Chris loves a good gourd. Loves a good gourd. You should see. He sends me them sometimes. Pictures of them. It's very upsetting. All right, let's go to Rob Bauer, bench 1. AJ. Okay. I don't want to bro somebody, but
who are options?
If that's AJ Brown, and we're even talking about Rob, AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb, Zay Flowers, Addison. Now, I understand this is a tough problem to have because you like all these guys, but I'm never sitting AJ Brown. I'm never sitting CeeDee Lamb. I think Flowers is in a great spot. Addison has touchdown equity too. I get that. I would lean towards Flowers, but like forget the other two. This is a Flowers or Addison question as far as I'm concerned. Erickson, your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I would say half PPR, I'd play Addison. Full PPR, I'd play Zay Flowers.
I'm just playing Flowers anyway. I'm going to take the points and get out. Addison could have 2 touchdowns in this game. He could have 0 touchdowns. This could be
Can't you say, well, what about the weather in Baltimore or in Washington? You just say, well, I don't want to risk it with the rain. Just I'll play the guy in the dome.
I understand that mindset, but the Colts secondary changes that mindset for me. They're bad. They are not good. This is, this is again, I think the opportunity.
But the Chargers secondary is bad too.
No, I know, but there's so many other more options there. Like, forget Odell's out. Rashad Bateman. I don't want to hear about Rashad Bateman anymore. I don't care. I don't want to hear about it. Don't talk to me about Rashad Bateman. It's Zay Flowers' world. We're just living in it. Giuseppe Leone, my people. Hey guys, happy week 3. Aguilar or Sutton? Gross. Giuseppe, gross.
I mean, you just talked about how bad the Colts secondary is. I'll play Aguilar.
Okay. Matt Keller, good morning. Fantasy Crew start 3. Zay Flowers, James Cook, George Pickens, DJ Moore, or Joshua Kelly. So, Erickson, I'll let you pick 3 out of this group, which is a pretty good group to have here, Matt. You're going to be very good in a couple weeks when bye weeks hit hard. This is a good problem to have, Matt.
Yeah, I think for me, I definitely want to start Josh Kelly. Probably want to start James Cook. I feel good about the running. I mean, I think that just starting running backs just gives you a higher floor in general. And then, honestly, I would start George Pickens
over Zay. Interesting.
I mean, George
Pickens, I would go Zay, Kelly, and Cook myself.
I mean, what else do we want to see? I mean, George Pickens was the wide receiver 1. He was a top 10 wide receiver last week. I know he caught the long touchdown, but what do you think he's going to do against the Raiders? Like, do we expect him to see less targets against a really bad secondary? Like, if the Steelers offense is ever going to look any semblance of good, it would be this week against the Raiders.
You would think, but we've been let down in the past. That kind of thinking can lead you down a very dangerous path. Maybe it's just not good against anybody.
Well, I mean, they played the 49ers and the...
I know the 49ers and the Browns are very good defenses, and that's my excuse for Najee Harris. I've been using Najee, that as my crutch argument for Najee. This is your opportunity.
So you're buying Najee?
Well, I already have Najee, so I have Najee in a couple of spots. I would buy him more if I could. Like, if I lost Nick Chubb, I would be looking to acquire Najee this week if you could pull that trade off.
Who scores more points this week, Jaylen Warren or Najee?
That's a trick question, because if Jaylen Warren has a bunch of catches... No, because if Jaylen Warren catches 6 balls because Deontay Johnson's still out, that's going to be a tricky... Oh, you know what? Because you're being so glib about it, Najee Harris, okay? Take your glibness. Yeah, I don't have to take this from you. Well, I do, for like another 40 minutes or so. 37. Who's counting? Let's go to Travis Winiger. FPPR. Nico Pacheco, Miles Sanders. Who do you have?
Pacheco.
All right. If you also need more help when we're not doing the live streams, just to let everybody know too, we've got amazing tools. If you haven't already, make sure you download my playbook, download that app, because we've got not just the waiver wire assistant too, to help you get some last minute players for your teams. We've got the lineup assistant where you could set all of your lineups for all your different leagues on all the different sites in one spot. That alone is the greatest value I've ever seen, not to mention all the extra tools like the trade analyzer, the league analyzer. So if you haven't, make sure you already download my playbook. Go to fantasypros.com/myplaybook, download that bad boy, sync all your leagues, use the tools to make the best decisions you can. And it's the best tools in the business for a reason. And that's why they're all hanging out down there, taking in the sun. They're all on the beach watching this live stream from what I gather. I don't know. I think they all went down to see Messi. I think that's what happened. I can't even keep track. They're all gallivanting all over the country. And we're here, and it's raining in New Jersey. Is it raining by you? It's been raining for 2 days here. How about New England? How about you, Erickson?
I don't think it's hit me quite yet. It's hitting Chris, though, but he's on the west side, so it's coming.
Well, Chris is already sitting by the fire. I think on one screen he's got us. On one screen he's got all the games. He's got like Red Zone going. And on another one, I think he's got some rom-coms going. So like I said, he's in full
he doesn't have girl mode. He doesn't have the monitor with just the fireplace set up, just like
he might. I'm not going to say he doesn't. He might. It's very possible. Let's continue on with your questions. Again, if you've got questions, we've got answers. Drop them in the chat. Here's from Bill. You want to start Brandon Cooks or Marvin Mims as a flex play this week?
I think you start Cooks. I mean, he's healthy. He's playing the Cardinals, and Marvin Mims, I don't know how much he's going to play.
That's the
So
problem. Yeah, I would agree. Cooks is a better shot. Mothership Pilot. Flex Puka or Mostert in a half PPR. These are good problems to have.
I'm not taking Puka out of my lineup until he gives me a reason to do so.
Well, he is dealing with that oblique issue, but he is slated to
He
play.
was dealing with it
every
last
game.
year, week 2, and then he
I
had
know.
20 targets.
He's up to
injury, 20 targets.
He's up to 35 targets, right? And 25 receptions. Still no touchdowns. Don't ask me how that happened. Like, how and with all that volume is there no touchdown yet? That's stunning.
Well, it's because Kyron Williams keeps scoring all the touchdowns on the Rams. That's how.
I mean, number 2 RB, Kyron Williams.
Yeah.
By the way, Mothership, this is, again, I would find a way to get Mostert in that lineup, too. I think he's going to have a good game. Someone in Naples, Breece Hall or Jalen Warren. Okay, here you go, Erickson. 2 of your favorite things. What do you have?
Jalen Warren.
Okay, why? Can I ask? Do you mind?
Well, because he's going to outproduce Najee Harris. It's a good matchup. He's going to catch a bunch of balls out of the backfield, and I think the Steelers' offense is going to be able to move the football. They don't have any explosive playmakers, really, except for Jalen Warren. So they're going to get him the ball to try to generate some type of positive offense. So I think Jalen Warren's going to have a really good game.
I have 2 words for you. Matt Canada. There you go. Just because you have explosive players doesn't mean you're going to utilize them. Let's not. Well,
I mean, they're starting to do that more. That's why they keep talking about Jalen Warren, because they're like Najee Harris.
They're talking about it.
Najee Harris looks like he's running underwater.
Wait, why does he not get a pass? But like you mentioned, some other guys were like, well, it's a tough start to the year because they had to play the 49ers and then they had to play,
because they have their job still. Like, they're still the number 1 running back on their team.
Like, Rachaad White gets a pass for week 1, but Najee doesn't get a pass? I don't understand.
Because he's still playing 80% of the snaps. Najee's not.
Okay.
Like, I'm not threatened by Sean Tucker, but I think that anyone that owns Najee Harris,
well, hold on a second. In all fairness, that game was 20-0 in the first quarter 2 weeks ago. So of course Najee wasn't going to be on the field as much because they were way behind. They have to throw the football. They were playing from behind.
He's not on the field when they're in passing downs. Like, that's bad.
Wow, we'll see how many passing down situations there are this week. All right, let's go to the next one. This is fun. I like poking the beast. I don't know why. I'm poking Erickson today. It's because we spent all week together. We had some great shows. By the way, if you missed them at Betting Pros, Erickson and I did a fantastic show about all the best picks of the week. You can find that on the Betting Pros feed. We did a great show with the props too. Some fantastic stuff there. The 2 of us going back and forth. Some really good props out there. Erickson, I can't remember what your number 1 was, but mine was that 17.5 on Mahomes rushing total. Just smash that over. What was your number 1 prop from this week?
It was Jalen Warren over 2.5.
Oh wait, yeah, I remember it now. Forget that.
Which was at plus money, but now it's been hammered. It's
because you and Derek Brown put so much money on it that now you guys have completely moved that market. Let's get to Michael Hill. Do I play Baker today or roll the dice and stick with Burrow on Monday night? I don't think you stick with Burrow. I don't think he's going to play.
Well, they're both playing on Monday night, so I mean, if Burrow doesn't play, I mean, is he asking if Burrow is like active?
Well, he's saying like, do I play Baker? I think Baker's game time might start.
You're going to know about Burrow though, because it's a 90-minute difference. So like, you'll know if Burrow's going to play before that game starts, even if it's a 10-minute window.
I'm trying to think of who else is out there. Gardner Minshew, Andy Dalton. You're still playing Baker over all those guys, right?
Yeah, I'd play Baker over those guys. I mean, look, I think that you have the luxury of, okay, look at your matchup, because you're going to be going into Monday night. And it's like, all right, if I need 5 points, just play Baker Mayfield to get the points, like lock and load. But if like you're down by like 35, like Baker Mayfield is probably not going to get you that. You just got to hope for a miracle that Burrow comes out with all his playmakers and can deliver a massive game. So that's probably the way I'd play it.
Our producer, Chris, just stepped out to jump in a big giant pile of leaves and then come back into the broadcast. So again, he's gone full fall, everybody. Might be decorating some pumpkins later this afternoon. Can't wait to see the pics on the IG. Let's get to another one here as a tight end question from Todd. Henry, Higbee, or pick up Taysom Hill and stream him at tight end?
I'm just going to play Henry.
Henry. I know you like Higbee to score a touchdown this week. I want to say he was your anytime touchdown scorer, right?
Yeah, it was Higbee and then Donald Parham Jr.
Yeah, mine was Addison. It was a plus 230 number, and I want to say Hawkinson was my other one too. There's going to be a lot of touchdowns in that game. This is from the Colonel. Hi, guys. They are coming for the Colonel. The boomer has stuffed the millennials, The last 2 years, I have Khalil Herbert, Roshan Johnson, and Kendre Miller. Need to start one with high upside. I think it's, Kendre Miller is intriguing.
I'm starting Kendre Miller.
I guess it's Kendre Miller. I guess you have no choice, but I'm really intrigued by Roshan this week if the job just kind of goes his way. After all the craziness of what's going on.
Well, like
Chicago's getting weird right now. It's just getting weird.
I get like the appeal and tease of Roshan, but like what does that job actually mean? Because Khalil Herbert's been the RB1 the last 2 weeks and his job has been horrible. Like he's not getting touched. They're not giving any running back enough volume to do anything.
I'll answer this question. If Justin Fields goes and runs amok and just says screw it, it means a little bit more because that wears the hell out of defenses because it keeps them on the field longer. It's these back big, you're 3rd and 18 and he goes and runs for 40 on you. Those are back-breaking plays. And let's be honest. I know the Kansas City defense looked much better week 2, but they did not look great week 1 against the Detroit Lions.
Well, they didn't have Chris Jones. And I mean,
I know they didn't have Chris Jones,
but that matters so much because he's so good.
He is so good and he does get after the quarterback, but let's not pretend like, Justin Fields isn't more mobile than the last quarterback they played. Let's get to the next question here on this list. This is from Kirk Lavender. What a great name. That's a great name. He previously worked at Bed Bath & Beyond, I'm pretty sure. Been flipping back and forth RB2. Who should I start? Miles Sanders or James Conner or B-Rob, half PPR? Look, Brian Robinson's been tremendous. I don't know how you sit him. I really don't.
I mean, it's called Seattle's defense is horrible against everything and everyone. I would start Miles Sanders.
I'm starting B-Rob. I mean, he's just clearly the dude there. ET925, Gabriel Davis or Sky Moore with the Mahomes stack. The Mahomes stack right now is just Kelsey. Like, I don't think we have any idea. The Sky Moore productivity came on kind of a great moment where Sky Moore improvised and Mahomes improvised, and that was kind of the big moment of the game for him. But Gabriel Davis, I know Debro's really in on Davis. Is Davis the better play than Moore today?
Yes.
I
would think
agree.
He's better.
All right, so let's talk about Nico Collins for a second, because according to Chris, in between lattes of the pumpkin variety, he says Nico Collins is getting a lot of questions here in the chat. So let's talk about Nico Collins in terms of where his value is this week, where you have him ranked, where the ECR has him ranked, because I think that's very important. And again, if you want to see those, you just go right over to fantasypros.com/rankings. You can see all the ECR, the expert consensus rankings. He's at 24. He is ahead of Zay Flowers, ahead of Garrett Wilson, ahead of DJ Moore. He's behind Chris Godwin, Michael Pittman Jr. Is that the same range for you, Erickson?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, he's my favorite sleeper wide receiver to play this week. I think that he set up really, really well. I mean, again, we're kind of waiting for some of these breakout players to turn back into pumpkins, essentially. It's like, oh, is it going to keep up?
Don't say pumpkins too loud around Chris.
Is he going to be able to keep it up? Okay. But why wouldn't he be? He was a guy we were all projecting, hey, this guy could be. I mean, I know that I really liked him a lot in this offseason. I thought he could break out. And through 2 weeks, what has he done? Oh, 5th in the NFL in receiving yards. He's doing exactly what I hoped he would do. And people aren't buying into it yet. Buy in. They're going to have to throw the ball a ton. CJ Stroud has performed well above expectations through 2 weeks. And he's going to continue to throw the ball. He's going to continue to have to make plays. They're going to be down. The Texans defense, I feel so bad for the Texans overall because they're injured. They're injured everywhere. So they just have to have their quarterback drop back 50 times a game because they can't do anything else. They can't run. They can't stop anyone on defense because of the injuries. So yeah, I think Nico Collins is set up for another game of 10 plus targets. He's used down the field. He's yards after the catch machine. And the Jaguars have given up a ton of yards after the catch so far this season. So I love Nico Collins.
Nino's got a question. Roshan or Khalil Herbert? Now, let's do this week and rest of season.
I mean, this week if the game script goes as it should in terms of them trailing by a bunch of points, so you probably project Roshan will probably catch more passes than Herbert, so that probably makes him the better play this week. But for rest of season, again, until I see Roshan really actually dominate the snaps, then I'm gonna still say Khalil Herbert. I mean, he's been the guy. They haven't been giving Khalil Herbert enough volume. How can this guy who's an explosive rusher?
This whole team is a mess, Eric. I mean, can we just call it what it is? The Bears are a hot mess. And I don't know what the hell is going on with that defensive coordinator situation, that resignation. I think it was obviously there's more to come on that story. I don't think we have it yet because their one sentence comment about it, I think, says a lot. And there's some others. I mean, this is dysfunction at a very high level, the Chicago Bears.
So how do you actually? So, I mean, we know the Chiefs are going to
Careful.
But like, how does this game actually play out in your mind? Like, is it like does Justin Fields actually like play well with his legs, and that's really it? And that's just and Patrick Mahomes puts up 40. Like, what do you actually see
Well,
happening in this game?
here's the thing.
Like,
The piece of this game we're not thinking about enough is the fact that Matt Nagy, is the new again offensive coordinator for the Chiefs. Like, that has not looked great so far this year. Like, that the play calling hasn't been great. The wide receiver play has certainly been underwhelming. Been a ton of drops to start the year.
Tony's hurt again.
That could be a blessing in disguise. Because he can't drop a ball, although he might be able to. I don't know. Anything's possible.
He's questionable.
But if you ask me, like, which one of these giant total games ends up kind of being closer than you think, it's not the Cowboy game. Like, the Cowboy Cardinal game, I do not think is going to be close. But if this one, I mean, if Justin Fields does rip off a couple of those big runs, if there is a key injury, if something happens, like, there is a circumstance where I'm not saying that Kansas City loses this game, but it maybe doesn't look like the smash commanding, stomp that everybody is expecting this Sunday. Yeah. I'm not saying it's it's going to happen.
So you're taking the Bears. You're taking the Bears plus 12 and a half. You're taking the Bears plus 12 and a half.
I've already taken.
It sounds like
I've already taken the Chiefs at the 12.
All right,
but you asked me which one of the blowouts I don't feel is good. Like, this one's the one that worries me a little bit more. And there's Justin Fields. Who do we have right now? That's DJ Moore. Who do we have? I can't see.
It's DJ Moore. The Discord.
It's DJ Moore. I can barely see it on the side there. All right, let's get to the next guy here. We have what do we have? Jason S. Let's ask him Jason's question. Kincaid or Musgrave? Who do you have?
You can't start Musgrave this week. He's playing the Saints. Saints shut down every single tight end every single week. Don't play him.
Don't play him. Deacon, James Conner or the Gus Bus?
James Conner.
James Conner. Let's get to Mac. Start one wide receiver and one flex, full PPR. Higgins, Puka, Pittman, Kelly, London, or Jacoby Myers. This is another good set of problems to have, Mac. Bye weeks are going to be kind to you. Erickson, who is your favorite two from this grouping? One wide receiver you got to start.
Puka and Josh Kelly.
Puka and Kelly. That sounds good to me too. I like Myers today too, but again, Myers just fits Jimmy Garoppolo. Let's get to Joshua Lopez, sit one. Miles Sanders, Josh Jacobs, or Kyron Williams?
You can sit Sanders.
Yes, I would agree. Chad Zanstra, KJ Osborne, or Chuba Hubbard in the full point PPR?
Osborne. Chase the total.
Chase the total. All right, that's fair. Osborne I thought was going to get a little bit more work. So far, he has not.
Well, he sucked. I mean, he sucked on Thursday night. I mean, he just had a really bad game.
He did have a bad game on Thursday.
Maybe bounce back. I mean, he's still getting a decent amount of opportunities in that offense. And again, I think it's just good to chase the total. And Hubbard really didn't see a lot of usage last week, and really it was all like in the last drive that he got a bunch of targets. So I think that Sanders is starting to kind of like bolster himself a little bit more as the clear RB1, where Hubbard is really just more of the backup.
All right, let's get to the next question here. We have the GG, or though this is Egg Terminator. Now he's just GG Terminator. I see you. You're trying to hide in the chat. Don't change your names. Buongiorno, paisans. That's really just for me. Erickson, although can be an honorary paisan. You're all right, Erickson. You're all right, kid.
Thanks.
All right, let's get a half PPR. Flex Addison, Laporta, or Khalil Herbert. I want to flex Addison.
Yeah.
Chase the total.
Don't flex tight ends, please.
Don't flex tight ends.
They're bad enough as it is. You don't want to start multiple of them.
No, if you could avoid it. Ryan Curley, is it crazy to sit St. Brown for Reynolds?
I'm not sitting St. Brown if he's playing. Like, just not doing it.
I agree. It's really hard to do. Now, it might turn out that Brown is limited on the field. He doesn't look like Amon-Ra St. Brown. Reynolds outscores him. That's possible. But sitting him for Reynolds in the current circumstance, I think is bad fantasy. And you can't do that on a consistent basis and win. John Brintrop, drop Najee for Warren. I don't want to drop Najee for Warren. I think that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's really hard to, after 2 weeks to just kind of do that, but it's not good for Najee just in general right now. Yeah. But
after the show today, by the way, Chris has some plans. He just told me, he was texting me, you better wrap this up in the next hour and change, because otherwise I'm going to be late for the hayride and the corn maze. So a lot of fun stuff going there for Chris in the fall. He's really got the full fall swing happening here over Fantasy Pros. So big goings on for Chris. Let's go to the next one here, which is Jonathan Dierks. DJ Moore, Nico Collins, Amon-Ra St. Brown, or George Pickens standard format. Where do you want to go here? Again, sitting on Amon-Ra is tough, but these are some good options here. Nico's a good option. Pickens is a good option, especially if you're chasing touchdowns. See, that's the thing. In this scenario, you're chasing touchdowns. So is that where you would lean towards a Pickens or lean towards a Nico?
Probably not. I mean,
Still on
Amon-Ra. I mean,
okay.
They're gonna score against the Falcons. They're playing at Coors Field, baby. They're gonna score points. There's no David Montgomery. So unless Gibbs is getting a bunch of goal line touches, what are they going to do? Probably just dial up more passing attempts. And if St. Brown, let's say St. Brown is limited, you know where they would probably use him if that was the case? Probably in the red zone. So
probably in the red zone. By the way, I stole that line. I gave you credit for it, but I stole it on TV today. Ford Field, the new Coors Field, where just scoring is because you ain't wrong. Now, is that because of the environment or because of the Detroit Lions defense?
I mean, probably a combination of both.
All right, let's go to Mario Martinez. Should I start Swift or Sanders? I'm starting Swift. I gotta
Sanders.
See. Miles Sanders is the most boring start in the world for me.
He's playing the Seahawks. Their defense, they may have the worst defense in the NFL, not counting the Bears.
So how do you feel about Andy Dalton today? How do you feel about that?
I like Dalton. I like the over in this
Red
game.
Rifle?
He's a upgrade over Bryce Young. Like, point
blank.
Oh,
harsh.
Bryce Young has been the second most inaccurate quarterback through 2 games this year. Again, I'm not saying
he can't see over the line, so it's kind of hard to be accurate.
But you know who can? Andy Dalton.
The Red Rifle, the Ginger Ninja. That's who can.
Jonathan Mingo's gonna have a breakout game with the quarterback that can get him the ball.
That'd be amazing, right? Quarterback controversy, right? Andy Dalton wins the next 2 games. Bryce Young is healthy to come back, but do you have Bryce Young come back?
We're gonna give him another week, you know.
Yeah.
Here we go.
All right, this is from Ian Doherty. Tank or Dotson? Tank Dell or Dotson? Because I assume it's not Bigsby we're talking about.
It's so weird how we talk about him all off season and then we start the year and where is this guy? Who knows?
I don't know if it was it was one person. Derek talked about Tank Bigsby.
Just saying. No, there's a lot of people talking about Tank Bigsby. A lot of people.
That's fine.
Well, now all I hear is crickets. Crickets.
Well, here's an interesting one because everybody knows Dotson's the better player here. But if you're talking trend lines, it's Tank, isn't it? Isn't it Tank Dell?
I mean, he's had one game where he was productive.
Well, that's more than Dotson's had.
that is true.
It's one more. It's one more.
I mean, I'm still going to probably go with Dotson.
All right, let's go to Fat Joe Jr. Hey, guys, I got Shaheed or Myers for the flex full PPR. Look, as much as Shaheed is intriguing this week, in full point PPR, not playing Myers, this is a tough one for me. That's a tough sell, Erickson. You want to go with Shaheed?
I'm going to go with Myers.
You're going to go Myers too. All right, let's go to the next one here. Let's go with Drums in the Suns, Pacheco or Mostert?
Mostert.
Dante, star 2, full PPR. Puka, Mike Williams, Jacoby Myers.
2? He said or just 1?
2. You get 2.
Oh, not Puka? Myers. So Puka and Mike Williams.
Yeah, I think Mike Williams is we're waiting. He has one good game a month. I feel like it's today. If it's not today.
Yeah.
I mean,
again, this is why you draft Mike Williams for games like this.
This is why you trade Mike Williams Monday morning after this game.
100%.
This is what you do. KG, Robert Woods or Jahan Dotson? Lots of Dotson questions. I know why.
Dotson.
Woods has been excellent.
Dotson.
I'm going Woods. I'm not Woods. CSP, Superflex. Did you see how many targets Woods has had in the first 2 weeks, bro?
How many? How many?
I will pull it up. He's had more than you realize. Robert Woods. Look at this. I'm so fast here. Thanks to the great tools here at Fantasy Pros, like my playbook. 19 targets in 2 weeks for Robert Woods. 19. And yes, he's caught, before you get snarky, he's caught 12 of them. So 6 catches. Doesn't have a touchdown yet. I can forgive that.
How many yards? What is it, like 60 yards or something?
No, 57 and 74.
All right.
Hey, man, that's double-digit PPR points. Lock it in. Again, Dotson struggled. CSP, Superflex, PPR. Pick one, homies. Gainwell, Higbee, or Kendre Miller?
Miller.
Okay. Better Miller, Kendre or Mac Miller?
Kendre Miller.
Okay, I agree. Kokui, Tyler Algier or Jerome Ford?
I like Algier.
That is depressing for so many people that you said that. I don't disagree, but that was the whole thing. Like the whole blowing the budget on Jerome Ford. That was a very dicey situation. Steven Joseph, start Flowers over Garrett Wilson in PPR. Yes.
Mhm.
Unequivocally, yes. By the way, everyone named Jones who plays cornerback for the Patriots is out. All three of them. All three of the Joneses. Just want you to know,
They
Erickson.
have 3 of them?
They have
I
three of them.
thought
That's
oh,
why the other
Jonathan
day on that
Jones,
show,
yeah.
you made a face to me. And I said, I can't remember which Jones just
Yeah.
went out. There's another Jones that went out. And you're like, what? I was like, I don't remember because there's so many of them.
Yeah, it's
And that
Jonathan
confuses me.
Jones, Jack Jones, Marcus Jones.
1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Mr. Jones and me. Gonna be big stars. Yeah. All right. Let's go to Uncle Ted. Hot take. Bears go nuclear and beat the Chiefs. Ted, I wouldn't be putting money on it. It's possible, but
I mean,
it's football.
people were betting Colorado State money line at like plus 660, and they were
Yeah.
21-point dogs. And
But that one, but hey, they were 21-point dogs. They were more than that. I think 25-point dogs against
well, that was week
TCU
one
to open
though.
the season.
But that was week one. Like no one knew anything about the team. So
I don't know if you watched any of those players. You knew a little bit about Sanders. You knew a little bit about Travis
yeah, but
Hunter.
it's still
Like,
hard.
those are some players.
It's still hard, but then it's like hard to calculate that and then put it into a point spread. So.
I think the thing that was immediately apparent yesterday from that game is when you looked at the offensive line of Oregon, and they are monstrous humans, and you saw the defensive front, and you're like, oh, this is gonna be a long day at the office. If you just showed that picture, that visual to anybody who was betting the plus money side of the Colorado to win outright, which I know was it 80% of the money or something came in on Colorado.
Just like a lot. Yeah, it was like
Because it's fun.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
fun. It's a good time.
Sportsbooks love it. It's so fun for them.
Have your fun. Make your deposits. Have some fun. Oh, look, there's another hotel we're going to open. Let's go to Thotron. Rashad White or Jordan Addison? It's Addison for me.
Yeah, I think Addison has more upside this week.
Vermax. Jalen Warren or Elijah Moore in the full point PPR? It's Warren.
Warren is way safer floor.
By the way, everybody, we're giving away free stuff. Don't forget, make sure you like the stream. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Drop a comment below because you could win a Deebo Samuel autographed jersey thanks to bettingpros.com. Go subscribe to Betting Pros too, but all you have to do to win this, subscribe to Fantasy Pros YouTube, drop the comment below, click the bell till it goes ding so you can get notified if you're the big winner. That's it. It's real simple, free stuff. We gave that Tyreek Hill one away, which is awesome. Now we're giving away Deebo. Who could be next week? I don't know. Maybe when Chris unburies him from all the blankets by the fire, he'll find another jersey. Maybe it'll be orange for fall. Maybe it'll be like I don't know, maybe an Amari Cooper jersey or they're orange teams in the NFL. Maybe a Bucks jersey of some kind. Maybe Mike Evans. That's more of a pewtery kind of thing. What's another orange team jersey we could give away, Erickson? I'm trying to think. Let's stick with the fall theme.
Miami, Cleveland, Denver. Does anyone else have any?
Denver. Yeah, let's give away a Denver jersey. Let's do a Javonte Williams next week. Orange for fall. All things fall for Chris right now. All right, but the hayride's not going to ride itself, Chris. By the way, you better make sure you wear your comfy pants because the hayride can be uncomfortable. Let's get to the Swift-O-Matic. London or Pittman PPR. Rain and wind in Baltimore. I don't really care about the rain and wind in Baltimore. Like I don't care. It's not like Lamar Jackson can't throw a ball through a barn door. You worry about Jimmy Garoppolo in the rain. That's what you worry about in the rain. Okay. London or Pittman? What do you have?
Pittman for me. And also, like, I mean, it's not like it's supposed to rain, but the wind is not over. Like, I'm looking at the weather.
High winds are always worse to me than the rains. Always.
Yeah.
Especially for the guys that don't have cannon arms. Like that's, people sometimes when they talk about all the weather, the people go crazy about DFS stuff. It's the wind games you have to worry about more than anything. And I think you saw that the last couple of years in Cleveland. Baker Mayfield had a couple of games like that he had to play through. I think Deshaun had one last year he had to play through. The wind coming off that river there, that really affects the way the ball travels. It really affects everything. Yeah. So those are the circumstances to really worry about.
Yeah. I'm looking right now at the weather and it says it's still like 50% chance of rain but the wind is like 7 miles per hour gusts up to 9. So it's really not super impactful. And Pittman also sees a lot of short area targets too to like pick up yards after the catch.
Are you surprised that Richardson looks so good out of the gate, Erickson?
From a
or as good as he has, put it that way.
I think that he's probably I think that he's probably surpassing my expectations from a throwing standpoint.
Mine too.
There are still a couple of throws that he makes that look really, really bad. Yes. But I think that what's making up for it is they're just throwing so much. So it's like, so he's just going to ultimately hit more throws because he's just throwing them. They're not holding him back, which I love. Like Shane Steichen is like, this is our rookie quarterback. He's our future. We need to get him reps because he didn't get enough reps at the college level. So I just think that he's set up really, really well in the offense that he's in. And I think that so far through 2 weeks, again, is assuming that he can get healthy. And did you know that his concussion was self-reported? So he would
Yes.
actually, yeah. So that I
Yep.
thought that was very
Very smart.
of him
Yes.
to kind of come forward and be like, "Hey, I'm not right." I think that more players should do that. Again, I know that we're trying to get away from the you got to play through it. Like you got to be tough. You got to
Well,
play
that
through
doesn't
these injuries.
happen. Ever since the
But
Tua thing, you see it.
yeah,
It's pretty much a lock now,
yeah,
unless it's a very, very mild grade concussion. That and you and I talked about it. I want to say on the live stream we had this discussion, but
yeah,
I had this discussion this morning on the TV show too, where I just said, look, if somebody gets concussed on your fantasy team,
they're out.
plan to not have them the next week because
Yeah,
it seems like no team wants to put themselves in a situation where Miami put themselves.
right.
Right? Where you look bad, you tried to push too soon, was no good. So, if Richardson was out, you should have been planning Monday morning what your pivot was. Same thing last week with Jacoby Myers. There was no way Myers was playing last week. Like you
Mhm.
have to understand concussion protocol, guys in it, it's probably a 90% chance he does not play the next week. That's the new standard. And it's probably the right standard too for the health and safety of the players. But you have to understand that as a fantasy player going forward, that's the way it's going to be. By the way, how it's going to be when we leave here is, of course, the Welsh is going to pick things up here with Tara Roberts, and they're going to take you through the next hour. So seamless transitions here, just talking fantasy all the time and making sure you get all the answers. By the way, don't forget too that this broadcast is brought to you by Jack Links. Look at that. The beef jerky. It's delicious. It's protein filled. Erickson loves the protein. It's the best way to go. You're looking for a good snack on game day. Jack Links jerky is the way to do it, no matter what time of year, too. Jack Links gives you the protein snack that you need, from jerky to beef sticks to steaks and more. Jack Links delivers 100% beef in a wild assortment of delicious flavors, so you can try all the different ones, see which one you like best. It's just what you need to help feed your wild side. So shop now at jacklinks.com, or you can just find them at your local retailer, too. They're everywhere. Look at that. That big Jack Links guy, he loves football. I'm pretty sure I saw him on the offensive line yesterday for Oregon, too. Those guys were enormous. I'm pretty sure he played somewhere on that line. All right, let's get to some more questions here. A lot of Joe Burrow questions, so maybe we can generally answer this for everybody. Chances of Joe Burrow playing seem like less than a coin flip on the bad side to me. I would be preparing for life without Joe Burrow for a few weeks. What do you think, Erickson? I know this is a desperate situation, but it doesn't feel like a good one.
No, I think that you probably should just try to find something else. Like it's just is it more likely that it's going to get better before it gets worse? Probably not. I mean, just kind of things how the Bengals have kind of been spiraling. Clearly, he is not 100% healthy. So I just think that it's best to just kind of assume like, hey, I'm not going to have Burrow. And again, you're not going to have the Joe Burrow that you want. The Joe Burrow that you drafted to be like an elite quarterback, like it's pretty clear like that's not going to happen anytime soon. So even if he is playing, like, is he going to be 100%? Like it's on his plant leg. So like, is he
Right.
able to even drive the football with the same velocity that he's used to? Is it bothering him on every single drop back? Like, and he's also like not practicing either. So like, what's the game plan? Like you could argue that Jake Browning, who practiced with the team all the entire training camp, like probably might have better understanding and better chemistry right now as a healthy quarterback than Joe Burrow does. So but Joe Burrow may come forward and be like honestly, right now Browning gives us a better chance to win, like than I do because I'm hurt. So
It's very possible replacement value for Joe Burrow on the waiver wire right now. I would be looking at guys like CJ Stroud. I mean, he's put up 300 spots. The offensive line can't run the football. They're always behind. Like Stroud is a good option. I don't think Purdy's out there in a lot of leagues still, especially after Thursday night's performance. But if he is, great. I mean, single quarterback leagues, Matthew Stafford's played well. Trying to think of who else. Geno Smith, probably was very undervalued. I don't know if he's probably floating around some waiver wires too. But those are the names for me, Eric. So there are names that I haven't mentioned that you think are interesting?
I mean, I think if you're in a pinch, like I think Ritter makes some sense. He's in a good matchup this week. He also runs a little bit. He has good weapons. Um, but yeah, I like the names you had.
Yeah, I think those are the ones to look at. All right, let's continue on here. Let's get to Eric GT. Pick one: Dalvin Cook, Miles Sanders, or Robert Woods.
Miles
You're going to say
Sanders.
Sanders. I'm going to say Woods. He's going to say Sanders. Joe Mama Joe, Addison or Pickens in the half PPR. This is a close one.
Pickens.
Less competition. I agree. Crow the Warrior Princess is back. Also one of Chris's favorite rom-coms, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I'll be watching that right after. I think he's got the pumpkin pie ready to go right after to go with the pumpkin spice latte. It's going to be a beautiful fall day for Chris. I love that for you, Chris. I just want to say I love that for you. Okay, let's go to Kroll's question. Happy Sunday morning, pros. 12-team Dynasty Superflex with Richardson out. Do I play, brace yourselves, Jimmy G or Andy Dalton?
I think that both are like pretty solid
You
alternatives.
too. They're not bad. You
Yeah.
could be in a worse position here, Kroll.
You could be playing a running back in your super flex spot that sucks. Like there's people that are in much worse situations.
I'm going to go Jimmy G.
Yeah, I think Jimmy
More
G's good.
weapons to potentially have a better game. I think at the end of the day, that's the guy you take. If
Yeah.
Andy Dalton outscored him, it wouldn't shock me, but I think Jimmy G's the better play.
Yep, I agree.
Let's go to Marshawn Campbell, 14-team league PPR. Start Tutu Atwell or Drake London in the flex.
I'm going to start Drake London.
I agree. Tutu has been it's a good trend. You could sell me on Tutu Atwell against a couple other guys. Not quite against Drake London. Not yet. King Caesar, good morning, fellas. Pick 2 in the full PPR. Madison, Kelly, or Myers?
Starting the running backs.
Fine. I'm starting Kelly and Myers. I've had it with Madison. Not that I'm not
okay. So he's had 2 tough matchups, but you're going to willing to defend Najee. But now Madison's a
career backup. Najee Harris was taken in the first round.
Okay,
Najee Harris is a real life high profile running back who had actual draft capital invested in him. Alexander Madison is just a guy who was a backup for his whole career. That's yeah. So,
but he's also
not as worried about that.
Yeah, but he got paid this offseason by the Vikings.
So what?
And he's had a higher snapshot than Najee Harris in back-to-back weeks.
Let's define get paid. He got paid because they were going to say, all right, let's try to anoint this guy. He's been good in some spots when he had to fill in. But in reality, he's not Dalvin Cook. He never was Dalvin Cook.
Points this week? Alexander Madison or Najee Harris?
Najee Harris. I'm just going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep pounding the table. And if I'm wrong, Monday morning, I'll come on the show. Pat Fitzmaurice and I on Monday morning on the Waiver Wire Show are going to be miserable together because I know we're both in agreement on this. I'm not ready yet to just completely cut bait, especially this week against that matchup that he's got against the Raiders.
Yeah, Madison's a great matchup against the Chargers this week.
It's going to be all throwing the football. By the way, Kirk Cousins is QB3, right, on the air, I think, right? I want to say QB3. It's been good. It's been a good start for Kirk Cousins to the season, just saying. The free quarterback, by the way. He was free. He was a 12th quarterback off the board this preseason. Jimmy wants to know JSN or Sky Moore in the full PPR.
Yes, Sky Moore.
My exact sentiments, a sigh of frustration and Sky Moore. Yeah. Chris H. Stroud or Stafford as a replacement for Joe Burrow?
I'll probably play Stafford.
I would agree, but Stroud is not a bad pivot.
Both are good alternatives.
Andrew Sade, Warren or Zach Moss in the half PPR. Man, I hate that Zach Moss.
Zach Moss.
It's depressing. The Pete LED, Hall or White? Breece Hall for me. Not looking back.
Breece Hall.
Jared Ricci, thoughts on Kareem Hunt? Thoughts on Kareem Hunt?
I think that he's going to have a bigger role as the season progresses.
Yeah.
And I just don't know if he's going to be active this week. I don't think we've seen any updates with whether he's going to play.
I haven't seen that yet.
I know that Akers isn't supposed to play. Which is,
I think it's a big hot mess. What are the chances? I know this is going to sound crazy. Cleveland is already just all in because of that Deshaun Watson trade. What are the chances that they don't kick the tires on Jonathan Taylor and say, dude, we're just in a bad spot. We got to figure this out because that division's not very good.
I don't know.
Like that division has shown you so far, they are ready to play. Like Joe Burrow's not healthy. The Steelers have struggled. Chubb is out for the year. I mean, right now that division. I know the Ravens have won games, but they haven't necessarily looked decisively great. I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't rule that out. And man, that's going to depress a lot of people too, who spent a lot of money on Jerome Ford.
The Jonathan, if you drafted Jonathan Taylor in like the 7th round, unfortunately, like I don't like seeing people get hurt, but all of these running back injuries has been good for Jonathan Taylor because it's increasing the likelihood that he actually gets traded to a team that actually needs him.
Well, this is why I kept saying Kamara is a good choice in that same round because Kamara is actually healthy, theoretically. Like Jonathan Taylor is still coming off ankle surgery, which I don't know why nobody wants to talk about that. But I feel like it's a big deal.
Well, I mean, Kamara was bad last year, so.
Well, the Saints
wasn't bad.
Here. It's hard to be good when you don't have good quarterback
I mean,
play.
the Saints also aren't good. The Saints have barely gone to
Saints are a work in
2-0.
progress. I still like Atlanta to win that division, but everybody's doing all right.
Atlanta is running away with that. I feel so good
All
about
the
the
Atlanta,
Atlanta stuff.
me too.
I feel
Aren't you
great about
glad
it.
that I put you on that early in the year? Aren't you glad? This is
Yes.
why you watch the Betting Pro show on YouTube,
Yes.
but you want to stay here for the next hour because we're going to pass the ball off to the Welsh, to the Tara Roberts, and Chris is going to put 6 more blankets on, light a second fire that may or may not be just another screen where he brings up a fireplace because it gets too hot in the house if you got too many fires going at once. So enjoy your fall day of football, everybody. Enjoy your Fantasy Pros. More questions answered right after this.
The fantasy football streams, they roll on. Pisapia and Erickson are out. It's Welsh and Tara Roberts. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We got an hour of answering all of your questions here. And you can find Tara Roberts on Twitter, X, whatever. It's Tara time. You can find me at Is It The Welsh. Tara, are you ready to dominate or be disappointed or something in between of what week 3 is going to have in store for us?
I'm fully prepared and ready for something in between. So, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, it's the gray area of everything. Like, we're still waiting on some breaking news. Hopefully we can get that to you guys as we're finding out a few of these guys that are questionable. That Packers game is kind of on my mind right now. So drop your questions in the chat. We're going to be answering them this entire time, but we do want to tell you this episode is brought to you by Jack Link's Protein Snacks. Pisapia was holding them up. That was great. There's no better way to enjoy the game than with Jack Link's Protein Snacks. From jerky and beef sticks to steaks and more. Really, Jack Link's delivers 100% beef and a wild assortment of delicious flavors. It's just what you need to help feed your wild side. Shop now at jacklinks.com or just, get up and go to a local retailer. I'm going to do that after this stream before I get set for the games. I'm going to get out to a gas station, not like a good local retailer. But guess what? Jack Link's is everywhere. So get going today. All right, let's get to some questions, Tara. Let's see what the people got for us. Scrolling up here. This is Chop Top. Chop Top's Metal Plate. What a name. What a freaking name. Thoughts on Rachaad White and James Conner this week, Tara? So I guess let's turn that into a who'd you rather, Rachaad White or James Conner?
So I love James Conner, obviously, guys. But it is Rachaad White for me. Again, I mean, the volume has been key. The pass catching upside, he's looked fantastic. So I'm good with rolling it back with Rachaad White. I do love James Conner, though, but it's Rachaad White.
It is always Rachaad White for me. It is never James Conner, contrary to what those gentlemen over there said. Both of these guys on the Fantasy Pros ranks, if you guys go over to FantasyPros.com, you can check out all the ranks. Half PPR, Rachaad White does get the edge. He comes in at 19 on the ECR. James Conner, 23, but both back-end guys. I just love the ability for them to be able to swing pass off. You could, to Rachaad White, you could argue with James Conner that he is the force of that offense, but it's Dallas. So that's fine if you have 20 carries, but for 50 yards, that doesn't quite do much for me. And I'm just not a big James Conner guy, but I'll take the L on that, I guess, throughout the season. J-Dot, full PPR, Robert Woods, Josh Reynolds. What do you say?
If it weren't for the injury concern, I might be inclined to say Josh Reynolds. But I am going to say Robert Woods. The floor has been fantastic. CJ Stroud has been throwing for massive volume. I don't see that changing this week with all of the injuries that they have in their secondary. So again, the upside isn't as high with Nico Collins there and Tank Dell having that true ceiling. But the floor and the targets have been very stable for Robert Woods. So I lean towards going with Robert Woods.
I think this one's really, really tough. Sneeko, as I come on here for 2 straight weeks and talk to you, I love my Nico Collins. I think he's still the number one, but I really like Tank Dell. Tank Dell's share is just rising and rising, and that team is always behind, and CJ Stroud throws like 70 times a game. But Jahmyr Gibbs does move into a role where he's going to be a little bit more workhorse, and we have seen him catching the ball a little bit more. You take that out, that's one less pass catcher, just a tiny bit in bigger sets that I kind of think Josh Reynolds might be able to take advantage of a little bit this week. And I do like Sam Laporta a decent amount. I kind of think Atlanta might take an early lead, and Detroit's playing from behind, and they got to throw. There's going to be a lot of coverage on Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm going to lean Josh Reynolds, but I would also tell you, I don't think you can really go wrong in this one. I think these are both like wide receiver 4s or 5s or deep league guys. So whichever one you decide, we're on opposite sides here, but I think it's pretty tiny. Here's another Rachaad White one. I'm going to limit the Rachaad Whites in this show today, but we'll get them out of the way just now. Jared says PPR, Rachaad White or DJ Moore. So we're talking flex now, Tara.
I'm not going to pivot off of Rachaad White. He's an easy top 20 back for me this week. So it's, again, you got to roll with Rachaad White on this one.
I do too. But I do like in the betting market, DJ Moore. I know everything is kind of right now, but the numbers are still super low because, the books want to see, they want to see Fields be able to do it multiple times. I think the Chiefs are going to have a lead. I think they're going to have to play from behind. I actually like Fields on the ground this week, but DJ Moore's receiving prop, last I looked, I think it was like 4.5 or 44.5. And I think the reception prop is at like 3.5 again. So I'm probably going to take both of those, but Rachaad White for fantasy this week. Joshua, Ridley, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Puka, start 2. So who gets benched?
This is the tough one because you have injury concerns for both Amon-Ra and Puka. So in theory, you got to go ahead and go with Ridley so you can at least get one safe option. You hate to pair up Amon-Ra and Puka and then something weird happens and neither one of them end up playing. So I lean towards going with Ridley. And then between Amon-Ra and Puka, I'm going to go with Amon-Ra. I hate to sit Puka. I hate it. But again, with him being the Monday night game or one of the Monday night games, that just makes it a little bit concerning there, a little bit risky. So lean towards going with Calvin Ridley and Amon-Ra.
Yeah. How you did that. I'm going to do the same thing. Cause like Puka's got a little bit of a questionable tag. I do wonder though, if every single week Puka's going to have that injury tag. Like, I'm trying to think of who it was. It might be Cooper Kupp, but there's always a couple of those guys. They've always got the Q next to their name and it's nothing political. Like they're always questionable. So I kind of think Puka might be that every single week. So I don't believe you that you're hurt, but I'll still bench him here. Gareth from greetings from Sweden. Standard flex spot: Pacheco, Swift, or Sneeko. Nico Collins. Pacheco, Swift, Collins.
This one is tough for standard because in theory, I mean, we could get the Swift could continue. We've got Gainwell that's coming back. But again, we just kind of expect for Swift to kind of have that similar workload. Now, Gainwell could get involved, but I feel like the safer option is to go with Nico again. I know standard, you want to lean towards that running back. We've got the injury concern for Pacheco as well, which makes me kind of pivot away from him. But Nico is still the one that I want to go with. I see the touchdown equity in him this week, so he could get you there too. You've got the targets, the volume, the yardage should be there. So it's Nico for me.
Ooh, and I just noticed everybody, I'm now getting beat in the ranks every single week. Not the first 2 weeks with Nico, but I've got Nico this week. Might have to move him up a little bit. I got him at 30 and he's 24 on the consensus ranks. Ooh. I'm a little bit worried like with Tank Dell's usage and the floor you talked about with Robert Woods that maybe like the shares come off a little bit. But to answer your question, I agree with you. I would probably take Swift off of this. I am very terrified on what Kenny Gainwell is going to do to him this week. And I just got to see it. Pacheco's kind of interesting because Kansas City's offense, the way they're able to move the ball, if they get up big, this might be a situation where it's just kind of ground and pound, but you already know it'll be like Pacheco, the first 5 on the drive, and then they'll bring Clyde Edwards-Helaire to screw the touchdown or something. So I think Nico is like the safe option here. If you want to play. And you know what? He might be the big ceiling too. He's the floor and the ceiling. I'm not sure that Swift. I guess you could put Swift as like the ultimate one from last week, but go with Nico. Simon says, "Morning team, tough one to replace Saquon in a 16-team standard. Craig Reynolds or Kendre Miller?" And I think this one, I think we got to lean Kendre Miller here. I am worried. I know there's a lot of people out there, Tara, that are like, it's Kendre Miller time. Let's go. It's Miller time. We're rocked. I am not so much. I'm very worried. I think I might have even mentioned this last week, or at least on the post recap stream that we are going to be doing tonight. So make sure you check that out. Me and Ryan Wormley, between the end of the afternoon games and the Sunday Night Football, you guys can watch on the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel as we're breaking everything down. But I'm worried about Taysom Hill. I'm worried about Taysom Hill getting a brunt of these carries. I'm worried about Tony Jones. That whole thing freaks me out. So I just don't know what the ultimate usage is. But in a 16 team with Craig Reynolds versus Kendre Miller, this has got to be Miller, right?
Yeah, I'm 100% with you. I'm not going to lie. Am I rolling out Taysom Hill in redraft? No, but he might be in some DFS lineups. He might be. I'm just saying. But because there's a good chance that he gets a decent amount of carries. The only thing about Kendre Miller is that we need to look at him as a rookie stepping into his first game, and that could be the limit with him. I don't know if the rookie coming off of an injury is as much of a concern. I think the injury I think he's good to go because he was cleared very early in the week, and it might have been that they were just kind of holding him back to give him a little bit extra time, and that there's not really a risk that's going to be a factor here. But the upside, the matchup as well, Kendre Miller could get out there. We know what Tony Jones is. He got the 2 touchdowns, yards per carry, not fantastic. He's not a high upside player. And if Kendre Miller gets in there, pops off a few big runs against that Green Bay defense, we could see them lean towards him and say, okay, rookie, here you go. You got it. So yeah, Kendre Miller is the one who I ultimately think has the higher upside.
He's definitely that one here. Yeah, it's just, it'll be like, he'll pop off a couple runs and he'll be like, hey, good job, rookie. Get on out. Come on in, Taysom in for the touchdown. So that's what's going to screw us all here. King is king. Jimmy G or Mac Jones?
Mac Jones. He came back down to reality a little bit. But ultimately, Jimmy G is what Jimmy G is. And at least we do see that there's some potential for a ceiling with Mac Jones. So I lean that direction with him.
I will pass. I will go with, you know what? I'm going to go with Jimmy G on this one. I just think like the under is 36.5 on this game. It's not the nastiest weather, but there's rain. There's some wind. Mac Jones kind of stinks. The defense is a little bit tougher with the Jets. Pittsburgh defense legit stinks. And with Jacoby Myers back, I actually think Jimmy G is like not the worst option. So I'm going to go with Jimmy G over Mac Jones. One thing that makes me sad about today is that my 49ers have already played and they've already dominated. As you know, I'm a 49er fan. And what that means is I can't talk up a guy like Deebo Samuel. That makes me sad because he was awesome last week. But what I can talk up is your opportunity to win an autographed jersey of Deebo Samuel. That is right. That is courtesy of bettingpros.com, your place to start betting smarter and not harder. All you got to do is subscribe to the Fantasy Pros YouTube channel right now that you're on. Comment below with any of these awesome questions. Maybe you've already done all of that. Well, guess what? You're entered. That's it. We'll be announcing a winner right here on the channel. We've been giving away jerseys like this, left and right. It's been crazy. So make sure to turn on those notifications so you'll be alerted when new episodes are up and you can claim your prize or you can claim it and have them send it to me because that's what we'll probably do. It's Deebo Samuel. That's my boy. A Spartan, Roshan or Tony Jones? What do you think? In the flex.
They're very similar in terms of the upside or in terms of the floor. The upside is higher with Tony Jones, but there's just so many factors that could happen in there. I'm just going to go ahead and go with Roshan because we've seen him growing every single week. He's cutting into that workload a little bit. He has the pass catching upside. I know it's not beautiful, but I would go with Roshan.
You know, a decision is tough when it gets you to sing a little bit. You're like, I'm going to go with Roshan as well. I don't Tony Jones, whatever. It's fine. But like I already talked up Taysom. Kendre's going to get some run today. I just worried that it's just lopped off and maybe not full PPR. So I'll go with Roshan. That thing is looking like a split a little bit. Andrew says James Cook or Puka in the flex. So James Cook. You don't bring James Cook to the table with Tara and have her pick somebody else. But what do you say? I've actually got a bet going on with James Cook today. 12.5 rush attempts is the line that was sitting out there. It's a sneaky little bet. Obviously, it's a Betting Pros type of thing. You can go and check out the Betting Pros YouTube channel. Coming up after this, they're going to be doing some stuff. But 17 last week, 12 the week before. The rushing attempt prop was 12.5. I kind of love that this week. But back to the question, James Cook or Puka in the flex?
So Chris is right. I stan James Cook.
Yeah.
And if there were zero injury concern, oddly enough, I would go ahead and go with Puka, because how can you not? But if you've got a good floor, high upside player that you can sub in for Puka and just mitigate the risk, I would go ahead and do that. So I will say James Cook over Puka Nacua, because again, just kind of limiting your risk there with somebody that gives you good upside as well.
I'm gonna say
you're gonna risk it.
I'm gonna say Puka. I just can't.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't ever believe that he's injured. I think he's gonna have 15 targets again. He's gonna catch 8 balls. I don't know what the impact will be, but he feels like the most floor 10 to 12 points you could possibly have. Now maybe there's more upside with James Cook, but I mean he is this offense. He is this offense. Yeah. So I'm gonna go with Puka in this instance, but if you want to play it safer because of that tag, James Cook is like phenomenal. So, and I tend to go running backs and flex over, but Puka's kind of like a special situation there. Let's see. PPR. Ooh, Kirk or Watson. Is he talking Justin Watson? That seems like a Justin Watson question. I know Debro called, if you listen to the DFS podcast, called a Justin Watson touchdown. So, forgive me if there's another. Oh, I guess, Christian Watson probably, because Christian's banged up. But just pointing that out about Justin. The questionable tag, I kind of think this is kind of easy. Kirk. Also with Zay Jones out, I think this is a pretty easy one.
Yeah, even without the questionable tag here.
Agreed.
These wide receivers in their first game back from a hamstring injury, you got to be careful. We saw it last week with Jerry Jeudy. They're on the field, but the production is just not going to be super high. So Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, the matchup, it's Christian Kirk.
Yeah, and just a reminder to everybody, if you put who do you like, Smith or Robinson? I might be like, my brain might fry. So if you ever want to put the first name in there, my brain won't fry. Where I'm looking at that and I'm like, is this a super flex? Was he talking about Deshaun Watson? I'm like, what is he talking about? There's lots of Watsons out there. Christian Watson, that makes sense. Anthony says London or Warren, Jaylen Warren in a flex full PPR. This is a fascinating one.
It is, because we've got some updates that Jaylen Warren is going to get a little bit more work. Now, granted, what's a little bit more, we don't know for sure, and it is a good matchup. That said, I do still lean towards going with Drake London. It is the risk. It's oddly enough, it's riskier. It is, because you can get the 0 with Drake London, or you can get the 20. It can go either direction. So Warren is a safer bet, but I just prefer the upside with Drake London.
Yeah, so for Erickson and I, our favorite bets of the day, number one bets, we both have we didn't work together on it, but it's Jaylen Warren receptions. That's 2.5. He's had 12 through the first 2 games, 6 apiece. It's like that. If you're gonna, you might lose it, but if you're gonna bet one, that's such a lock. I think Warren is going to get a little bit more of a role, but what that role ultimately looks like is still in question on how that offense moves. Kenny Pickett looks just like one of the worst. The only problem is Desmond Ridder is the worst quarterback in the NFL. But when they do get into the red zone, he just stares down Drake London. It is Bijan or Drake London. One of those two are scoring a touchdown. And that does create a more upside. The floor rises a little bit on Drake London. They're going to probably pass it 18 times, but probably 9 of those are going to go to Drake London in this game. And the rest will be checkdowns. And Kyle Pitts will get his 2 catches, 1 overthrown by 5 yards and, 1 nice catch. So I think London with the red zone option is a little bit more enticing than whatever this usage change is going to look like with Jaylen Warren. So I'll go with London full PPR as well. Eric says start 2 in full PPR. Kendre Miller, Christian Kirk, DJ Moore. So do you think Kendre Miller, because I think DJ Moore's a lock here. So let's lock him in. I can read you here. But can Kendre Miller's usage be, the upside of the usage be better than what we know that floor of Christian Kirk is going to be, which is probably 7 to 8 targets today?
It can't. Just the matchup against Zay Jones. It's just, I can't pivot off of Christian Kirk for Kendre Miller. Even though I'm excited for Kendre Miller, I'm excited. But
Yeah, I'm such a like old fuddy. Every time like the very first game of a rookie, I'm like, no. Outside like Bijan, I'm just like, no, like don't.
yeah.
And we're 3 weeks in, and it's like, where's Charbonnet? Where's Bigsby? Where's A-Chain injury? Like all of these guys that we set up. I know Kendre Miller's put into a really good spot, but it's just like it's unknown. So if you have a known, unless you need to take a big shot, I'm going to go with what I know over what could be with Kendre Miller, which could also be 2 carries and 1 catch, and that's it. David says, Fields or Stafford for this game? Lot of worries about Fields out there.
Yeah.
This kind of is like a make or break trust game for Justin Fields. And maybe the positive is if they're getting knocked around a little bit, it kind of feels like they're going to be playing from behind, which might have Justin Fields running a little bit more. Kansas City's defense has been stoutier than usual, but they're still not that great. But I don't know. What say you? Is the hope of Stafford and the way he's throwing the ball something that you would bench Fields for?
No, it is not. Ultimately, I still go with the rushing upside quarterback. I understand the panic, especially in Dynasty. But in redraft, he's still a top 10 quarterback with a fine floor and massive upside. So we're still rolling out Justin Fields despite the disappointments. And hey, maybe, based off his comments, maybe he gets a little bit more control back in this offense and gets a little bit more of that rushing upside again. So I still go with Justin Fields.
I went to look at his rushing prop for the day, and it's rough. It's 60.5. And it's like, I just want to smash, but I was hoping it was going to be like 47, 48 or something. And I thought they made it really tough. On the consensus ranks over at Fantasy Pros, Justin Fields is 9, Matthew Stafford 17, if you care what the ultimate masses have to say about that one. Jan says, should I hold Cam Akers, and when do I pick up Jameson Williams? So a 2-parter here. Should we hold on to Cam Akers in Minnesota first?
Yeah, give it a couple of weeks. Don't judge based off this week because, again, you've got first time coming back, midweek trade. So you got to give it a second here with Cam Akers to see how this all shakes out. And when you're picking up Jameson Williams, I have gotten it as the season has gone on. And as we have more players, popping up, your Tank Dells and everybody popping up, the rookies, just such strong performance. I don't know. I'm not getting super excited about Jameson. Give it a couple more weeks. I don't think you have to do it immediately, or not a couple more weeks. Give it 1 more week. You don't have to do it immediately. Do it at a time where you don't have to put any fab in. That's the key right there. If you can afford to hold him, if your bench is deep enough, do it this upcoming week. If not, give it a second. I'm not getting there with Jameson.
You're just not that into him, is what you're saying? I am. I have a lot of shares of Jameson Williams. And I think if you want to do it for free, you have to do it now, because it's not going to be free next week, because someone's going to be like, oh, I'm going to get him for $3. And there's a little bit of a battle potential. Sure, it could be a big failure, but I also think they want to sling this ball. And Jameson Williams has a very Gabe Davis-like vibe in that, Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to dominate as far as the reception market goes. Sam Laporta looks really good in the middle of the field. So Jameson Williams is going to have to get it out of a lot of big plays, maybe even like Jordan Addison. But I think you can see Jameson Williams like a Jordan Addison, like where Jordan Addison is. Every single week, he's like a wide receiver 3, then maybe pushes 2. That's how I see him. So if you've got viable, droppable stuff, then I'm going to try to pick him up now for free before you have to go pay for him next week for him coming back. I believe it's the week after, right? It's week 6 he'll be back because it was a 5 game. Does that sound right?
6, I think. So it'll be 7. So yeah, we got a little leeway.
Okay, so maybe
here.
next week. Yeah, maybe you could get away with next week. I just want to do it 2 weeks before. For some reason, I thought it was 5. But if it is 6, then maybe next
do a
week.
little math there.
But my main point is, like, if you've got just like crap on the bottom of your bench, like, I think you can move on through that if there's nothing else that's viable out there, because of what's out on the wire, he's got wide receiver 2 upside easy of any of those pieces if he's sitting out there. So, do that accordingly to where you're at. Trace says, surprise Terrace here after the Clemson game yesterday. #heartbreak. I literally didn't even see where that was going. I just started to read it, but are we on a Clemson heartbreak?
Yes, we are. We blew the game against Florida State. We are unranked. We could have beaten fourth-ranked Florida State. We literally gave the game away. But if you guys can see, I am a little like still proud. Clemson, like I'm representing. I'm heartbroken. I'm in pain, but we're still here.
Okay, well, let's try to make it better. Let's see if Ryan can ease the pain or at least distract the pain. Ryan says, good morning. Bench 1, half PPR. Ridley, Nakua, Flowers, Cooper, Nico. So let's take Ridley and Cooper out of this because they're not benchable here. We're benching 1. So it's really Nakua, Flowers, or Sneeko. So who are you benching out of that crew? It's really Flowers or Nico, by the way.
Yeah, it's between Nico and Flowers. And I think you do have kind of weather. I love Zay Flowers this week for a massive boom game. But if you want to go with the, weather risk, maybe, then make it Zay Flowers.
I am going to go with Zay Flowers as well. Zay Flowers is going to be off the docket for me. He's fun. Fine Joe, but we're not listening to Joe all the time on Zay Flowers. Zay has got to like really, really prove it where Joe gets to like pound the desk and be like, I told you if you were listening the whole time and do the Joe thing. It's like, no, Joe, I don't think so. But there's tough decisions to be out there. So if you need a little bit more help on those decisions, make sure you are hanging out with us at Fantasy Pros and more particularly fantasypros.com/myplaybook for all of the tough decisions. It's the most powerful suite of tools out there for not only those decisions, but making your lineups, winning your leagues. They're giving you advice. They're analyzing your roster. And throughout the week, I don't remember this last year, and it might've been how they've changed some of the features. I kind of dig the emails I get where they're like, hey, are you sure about this? Like they check in with me. They check in with me throughout going. And also I have a couple leagues on Sleeper where it'll, or maybe it's the Yahoo ones where it'll pop up and it'll be like, we think you should put this player in over this player, even with IDP, which is really cool. I've had that with some linebacker suggestions in a big IDP league I play with Scott Bogman. So you guys want to do that, go to fantasypros.com/myplaybook, get locked in to help you with those big decisions when we're not here for you, because sometimes we're not here for you. But I mean, we kind of are because we're like always doing stuff. Brian says Hopkins, Elijah Moore, or Jaylen Warren in PPR. This actually is kind of close, Tara.
It is, because we saw DeAndre Hopkins, play last week through the injury. He's one of those players you're talking about he might be on the injury report, not practicing. You know how those veterans do, but he is going to play. I'm still going to go with Hopkins, even though it is the tougher of the matchup between all of these guys, because it's DeAndre Hopkins. And then again, if for some reason Deshaun Watson just has a miracle come to Jesus in terms of, being a good quarterback now and lights up that Tennessee defense, we could see Tennessee have to put up volume through the air and rely on DeAndre Hopkins, who's the clear wide receiver 1 in that offense. So it is Hopkins for me.
Yeah, I think Deshaun Watson needs him come to Jesus. I'm done with Deshaun Watson, which makes me done with Elijah Moore. He doesn't look at anybody but Amari Cooper. It is incredible. The thing that's been frustrating me the most, if anyone's watching any of the stuff I do, is these quarterbacks in the NFL right now that cannot go through progressions. Brock Purdy, my own quarterback on my 49ers, he cannot go through progressions. You kind of don't need to sometimes when you have those weapons. But Deshaun Watson kind of does the same thing. As soon as the first read is not there, he might glance at the second, and then he's taking the ball and he's running around for his life. And I get really negative about these lack of progression quarterbacks. And that's one of the biggest thing outside of like the talent of Deshaun Watson is it just doesn't seem like he can break through those. So I'm kind of out on him, which makes me, I do like Amari Cooper because that's the only guy he looks at, but that makes me out on Elijah Moore. If Hopkins is there, I'm starting him. I don't want to be dismissive of Jaylen Warren, but like, Hopkins active, I'm golden. Daniel says CJ Stroud or Deshaun Watson. Speaking of, Watson at 12 on the ECR rank list and Stroud at 24. So literally the end of QB1 and the end of QB2. What say you?
This is my last chance with Deshaun. I'm starting you here because this matchup is ideal. So I'm putting in the faith there that you're going to be able to exploit it. This is the last time. This is his last chance. So I'm going Deshaun Watson over CJ Stroud.
I actually think they're close. I think they're super close. Like the gap is kind of funny to me. Stroud, the volume of playing from behind, I think is always in play. Watson's floor seems to be pretty low down there. Yeah, I go with Watson. Maybe it's going to be a breakback game. Maybe they're going to be a little bit less runny than usual after losing Nick Chubb, and they're going to try to get in the air more, which would be great for all the receiving options. So I would go with him, but I don't think it's that far off. Michael says start Firemouth or Kincaid at tight end in, I'm guessing, full PPR.
Frymouth. I don't dislike starting Kincaid this week, but it's still Pat Frymouth.
It is Firemouth as well, though I really like Kincaid, so I don't want to be dismissive of him, but it is Pat Firemouth for a lot of middle of the field receptions. George Pickens looked awesome. Is Kenny Pickett ever going to be good? Like, that might be my biggest L this season. Really thinking off of what we saw in the preseason, that Pickett was going to be like awesome. And he looks like dog crap. He looks horrible. It's crazy to me. Brad says Richardson is out. Start Minshew or Ryan Tannehill, Tara?
It is Minshew mania time. We are going with Gardner Minshew.
I think Gardner Minshew doesn't really skip a beat in this offense. Maybe I'm worried a little bit about it. Like, if I could use just a hokey term of like the offense being dynamic, like Richardson's a type of guy that it seems like he can just get those first downs kind of on will, and he's passing the ball really well. Minshew's going to simplify things, but he's a good passer. It's actually probably full PPR. I liked Michael Pittman going into this week. I still like Michael Pittman a whole lot. He's probably they're going to just have to simplify it for him, but I don't think it's too crazy of a downgrade. There's no chance I'm starting Ryan Tannehill. So I know it's weird. Gardner Minshew over Tannehill, but that's kind of easy for me. Craig says full PPR, Dobbs, Watson, or Tank Dell. So the risk of Watson, which I haven't even seen, maybe we need to look at the injury report. We have to have seen where we are at with the Packers, but what say you, Tara? I'm going to look while you're talking.
So it's the lack of information that the Packers are giving us. We are literally coming right up to the deadline here, and unless we just missed something since we got started with this live, we still don't 100% know if Christian Watson is playing, and that affects him. That affects Romeo Dobbs. And it's a bad matchup, and I think you just have to go with Tank Dell unless we have any clear information here.
It looks like we do, because literally 1 minute ago, I have impeccable timing. 1 minute ago, the Packers put out their inactives, and Christian Watson and Aaron Jones are both on it. So breaking news, both Aaron Jones and Christian Watson will be out for this game, according to the Packers injury list, which is no bueno. They're also going to be out Jair Alexander. This is so brutal. Back to is this real? That is a brutal inactive list. Boy, I kind of like the Packers before going into this game. I don't like this with this amount of inactive. So Christian Watson is out. Now this becomes about Dobbs and Dell, but just again, no Christian Watson. Get Aaron Jones out of your lineup, and also no Jair Alexander. Not that we didn't already love Olave, but just putting that back in your guys' face, maybe even Rashid Shaheed. So Dobbs and Dell, is this going to be an easy, even though I think Dell out targeted Dobbs last week when Dobbs has been the number one, but what do you think?
The only concern here that I have is that Dobbs struggled last week, I think, because he had the tougher matchup with AJ Terrell on him. And if he gets, again, the tougher coverage and he just can't overcome that, again, it might be another Jaden Reed type of game. So it's Tank Dell. Yeah.
Here's the only thing I think is, like, if the Packers are playing down again, but I like Jaden Reed a little bit more. So I'm fine with Dell. Dobbs does look like a number one, but I think at the end of the day, the target share might end up going to Jaden Reed here. I am cool with going with Dell, but you can hear my lack of confidence as I'm processing it live. Sam had a question that is going to be a little bit easier. He said, in a standard league, Breece Hall, Swift, or Aaron Jones. So Aaron Jones off the list. So Breece Hall or DeAndre Swift?
DeAndre Swift. Yes, it was super easy.
Swift, sure. I don't feel good. There's a part of me
not so easy.
There's a part of me that, like, with Breece's lack of touches last week, you see coaches, and Saleh has done that. Not that he was in charge of it, but you saw with the Niners doing this in previous years, when you would have guys get those lack of carries, and then you have the rebound week where it's like the make good week where Breece didn't get a lot of run. I do wonder if Breece gets that in this game. but this game kind of stinks in general. I'm just so, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm going to say Brees. I'm actually going to say Brees because I'm terrified of Kenny Gainwell just being like 18 carries and Swift being relegated again, even though Swift looked amazing. I'm cool with you going with Tarek because Tarek might be 100% right here. I'm going to go with Brees on the bounce back, but that is actually not that easy, Sam. So apologies. Kevin said, should I drop Tyjae Spears for Roshan Johnson based on rest of season?
I don't want to drop. I don't want to drop either one of them. Man, that's rest of season. You might want to just drop Tajay or try and trade him or something. I don't want to drop either one of these guys. I would try to trade one of them.
I would drop Tajay Spears for Roshan because I think Roshan he can be a primary back without an injury. And Tajay Spears cannot without an injury, but Tajay Spears would clearly be the higher back if Henry was out. So that is like an absolute no-brainer there. So, and sorry, we got confused. Yeah, we mentioned that Chris was confirming with us that Christian Watson is out, which we brought up there. Chris, are you okay? You look cold. You do look cold. He's got the hoodie. It looks like I know you have a normal hoodie on, but do you guys have those blanket hoodie things that are like giant? Blanket kids have those, and they just walk around like little creeps because the whole thing covers to their feet. You look like you need a fire. And but that is a pretty good bald head. Do I need to shave my head to work at Fantasy Pros, by the way? My God, look at all of these bald heads. All right, Terry, you and I, let's start a pact that we are going to be the not shaved head crew from the rest of the
non-conformists.
Yeah, please. All right. I hope I don't have to. I don't know if this changes. Kyle said Russ or Justin Fields. So we already did the Stafford. I think it was Stafford. Does Russ do anything? I mean, Russ looks awful. So would you go Russ over Fields?
No, I'm not. Even though I've talked up the matchup between Miami and Denver as being one that could potentially be a lot higher scoring than people might assume. It's not Russ. I mean, are we really going based off of one deep pass and one Hail Mary right there? That was the fantasy points for him. So no, it's Justin Fields.
This is an interesting question. Nice one. James said, should Chase owners trade him? But also maybe I could just throw it to you. Like, should we consider moving Jamar Chase while there's still the not just wide receiver one stigma, but very, very high stigma? Or you could inverse it. Do you think this is an incredible buy opportunity for when Burrow gets right? But what do you think?
Yeah, it's more of a buy opportunity for me. Now, granted, because it's Chase, you can sell and get fair value because you don't have to sell low on a guy who was literally the 102 off of the board. So, or at worst 103. So yeah, don't sell him low. You're selling him at the lowest potential point here. Burrow, this is not it's not a season long thing. Now, granted, I do think that it could be a multi-week thing. I think that Cincinnati might be gaslighting us a little bit like they have tended to do in the past. Just can't trust Zach Taylor. But that said, if you want to move off of him, do so at a very, very fair value rate. Do not sell low. He's definitely a buy low opportunity if you can.
Chris, could you imagine this question being asked if Erickson and Debro are on here? Wide receiver one, Jamar Chase, and people are like, "Oh my God, should I trade him?" They would Debro might have an aneurysm on the pod. You're like, "You have to buy." This is my Debro. You have to buy him. What are we doing, people? We have to buy Jamar Chase. That's my Debro impression for it. Jamar Chase, by the way, is 9. He's 9 on the list for week 3. So. I'm just putting it out there. I don't want them to have aneurysm, so let me do it. I'm struggling more anyways. All right, let's go to the next question. I just lost everything. Jennifer says, Nico or George Pickens, half PPR. What do you think, Tara?
It's Nico. I mean, the volume was there. The targets were there for Pickens. But again, Kenny Pickens has just been... the targets that he's not getting them very well because Pickens is just a hot mess. So it is Nico for me.
It's George Pickens for me.
I knew it was.
I love Sneeko. That's my guy. It's like, this is what always, this happens to me in everything in fantasy, where I'll be like, oh, this is my guy, and I'm the only one there. And then it's like a bull rush. And then I'm left in the dust, and I'm like, oh man, like I love Nico Collins, but now everybody else really loves Nico Collins. I'm not saying you, but like in the ranks, he's 24 this week. It's really high. I mean, and he has been performing at a wide receiver 2 level, but now people have created the floor of a wide receiver 2. Kenny Pickett kind of sucks, but George Pickens doesn't. And he is still the primary guy. The Raiders secondary stinks. Pickens is going to get his targets. He is a huge big play guy. As a matter of fact, I want to say his longest reception prop might be like 20.5 or something. I would smash that. I would smash that this week because Pickens just gets big plays out of it. So I'm going to go with George Pickens here. On the wide receiver consensus ranks over at Fantasy Pros, Pickens is 20. Nico is 24. That just also helps you what the masses have to say here. Village, half PPR, says start 3. This is actually a bench 1. We're going to inverse it. They gave us 4 names and they say start 3. So bench 1, Connor, Mostert, P. Ryan, and James Cook. We're benching P. Ryan.
Yeah, it's P. Ryan.
Easy.
The start 3s always throw me
Yeah,
out.
that's, you know what? Good for you, Village. There's no dispute. That's a super easy question. Mike says full PPR, Tank or Roshan Johnson in the flex.
It is Tank. We're rolling out Tank.
Yeah, full PPR too. I think we're going to go with that. By the way, I want to remind you guys, you still got time. If you guys want to put questions in the chat for any of your start and sit questions, whatever it is, drop them in the chat. We will probably at the end, if we still got them, we'll be going some lightning rounds. So drop those in to get on the show. And, we'll praise you with love and be like, oh, look how good you are at fantasy. That's the, you give us your great questions. We're like, oh, you're the best. That's what we do here at Fantasy Pros. We coddle you. We're like, you're the greatest and you feel good about yourself. I'll go with Tank on this one. Khalil Herbert, still a force. Cody says half PPR, Joshua Kelly, RB2 or Pacheco.
It is Joshua Kelly. Oddly, two very similar running backs. We cannot judge Joshua Kelly based off of last week's performance. Don't see that and think, oh my God, Joshua Kelly awful. Everybody is awful against Tennessee. So just kind of like put that out of your mind and just head back to week 1 where he was fine in a good matchup. And that's what's going to happen again this week. He does not have the receiving upside that Austin Eckler has. So no, that Austin Eckler ceiling is not there, but you can get a solid 15 out of him in my opinion. So it's Joshua Kelly for me.
It is easily. Kelly disappointed us last week, but this is a good matchup. This is a very good matchup on the receiving side, on the running side. Vikings defense, no. I mean, there's a reason the high over is on this one. This is a smash on Kelly. I actually think let me see where I have Kelly this week. I want to say I've got him at like 13 or 14. Yeah, I've got him at 14 this week. And the consensus on the Fantasy Pros has Joshua Kelly at, I think maybe there wasn't updates. Am I just not seeing this? Oh, 14 also. I didn't even see that. So 14 is the list on Josh Kelly this week. Where do you have, Terry, do you not have, are you not part of the crew that you don't have Josh Kelly as a top 20 back?
I was a little bit lower, but granted, there are some things that I do have to change in there. Like I've still got Aaron Jones in my rankings because I thought that he was gonna. So there's a couple things that I can adjust. I did not adjust Joe Mixon due to the James Burrow stuff. So I've been busy this morning. I gotta adjust stuff. I'll be a little bit lower on Kelly than consensus, but not too much.
Enough that it's over Pacheco though. That's like the main,
for sure.
Main key. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm also one on the Fantasy Pros ranks, which are super fun. I tend to like, if a guy is really, truly questionable, like I drop them on my list and I put them where I think they would be when they're active. And then I just start knocking them off. I always find it weird when people are like, well, he's kind of questionable, so I'm going to put him at like 36 when he's like when a guy would be a top 10 bet, like Austin Eckler. Like if they're going to put him on, just put him at where he would be, or just don't have him on the list at all. Don't like put him at like 36.
Kind of, I agree.
Yeah, it seems weird. Like if he were active, there's no scenario where we'd be like, well, he's going to be 35. Like he's going to be a top 10 for everybody at every point. Gregory, DJ Moore or Mike Williams, half PPR.
This is closer than you would think. Because the matchup is so juicy for Mike Williams. It's Mike Williams for me. Yeah.
I think Mike Williams is your safe bet here. but I am still a DJ Moore stan. Like that's why I look at the numbers and I'm like, I can't talk my outside of Fields just being, if he really is going to just be garbage. Like I can't buy that they're not going to force feed him in this offense. The reception prop, the receiving yards, if the Bears are moving the ball, it's at the expense of DJ Moore being a positive force. Mike Williams, though, is like a floor. Like he feels like he's a 5 reception, 70 yards, and then maybe there's like upside in other spots. But there's something about DJ Moore this week. I'm cool if you went Mike Williams. My gut tells me DJ Moore. So just throwing that out to you guys. If your gut is feeling like you want to get on the NFL contest, you can do that over on the Betting Pros app. Join today by visiting the community tab in the Betting Pros app, or you can go to bettingpros.com/NFL contest. The contest has got weekly and a season to date leaderboard. The minimums, you just got to get 5 NFL picks in to qualify, or that's the minimum of per week is 5. And then you got to have a minimum of 100 picks for the season to qualify in the full season game. They have one grand prize winner, which is going to receive an autographed Jackson Smith and Jigba jersey. They've got weekly prizes. Monthly winners are going to win swag from the Fantasy Pros and Betting Pros shop, like this hat. This is a brand new hat from Betting Pros that I'm wearing today. So go and check that out on the Betting Pros app or bettingpros.com/NFL contest. Do it. I love my hat. I like the new design. I actually have to change my background TV to have the new one. So we'll get going with that. Kayla says Treylon Burks or Kendre Miller. We've had a lot of Kendre Miller ones here. So what do you think?
Treylon Burks. I think that what we saw out of him last week, we saw a little bit of an uptick in production, not a ton, but I think he can get us in that 10 to 14-ish fantasy point range.
I think you just swayed me. I wanted to say Kendre Miller, but you're right. Like Treylon Burks is like a low-end wide receiver 3. Kendre Miller could be a running back 2, or he could be a running back 5 this week. Like we just have, there's so much unknown with him. I feel very uncomfortable. Juan says Amari Cooper or Tyler Lockett, full PPR.
Amari Cooper. I said this was my last week of giving Deshaun Watson a chance. And regardless of Deshaun Watson, I absolutely love Amari Cooper this week in this matchup against Tennessee. I am all in on it. So yeah, it's Amari Cooper for me.
Yeah, it's Amari Cooper for me as well. I do during the week, I'll have like my 5 best bets, which by the way, another cheap plug. If you download that Betting Pros app, you can get on the NFL contest. But what you can also do is you can follow some of your favorite people, and all the Fantasy Pros people are on the Betting Pros app. You can follow me, you can follow Joe, Debro, Thorpe, or whatever it is. And you'll see I put my props up every week, and I've got, I think, 6 props up right now. And I actually don't know if I put the Amari Cooper one, but the Amari Cooper 4.5 receptions was even money earlier this week. And as stinky as Deshaun Watson is, it just stare down Amari Cooper at all times. So I like that. So I would go with Amari Cooper on this one as well, even though, they're stinky. Lost Boy. Well, that's kind of interesting. Jacoby Myers or Joshua Kelly. So you are a known hater of Joshua Kelly. You said it on here, Carrie. You said, I don't like Joshua Kelly. He's a horrible back. You shouldn't start him. I'm just kidding. But Jacoby Myers gets all the targets from Jimmy Garoppolo, because Jimmy Garoppolo is another in the long line of really bad quarterbacks who can't throw really deep. And Jacoby Myers is perfect because he's always just 5 yards in that he can just dump off to. So if you're looking at full PPR, Jacoby Myers actually is a pretty good floor, but you hate Josh Kelly. So what do you do?
I don't hate Josh
I know,
Kelly. I mildly, slightly dislike him compared to consensus. This one is tough because that week 1 performance for Myers was outrageous. And you're right. Like he profiles as the better fit for Jimmy Garoppolo. Kelly is the safer option because it's tough to feel safe with Vegas in general. I don't think you go wrong either direction here. I think I lean towards going with Kelly though.
Yeah, I agree. I like volume backs that are going to get the bulk of the carries, that are going to be able to catch out of the backfield and in the highest over of the week. So I already said, like, the Steelers secondary kind of stinks, The bigger question would be, will the Raiders offensive line be able to protect Garoppolo more than 2 seconds to be able to get the ball off? That also is why Jacoby Myers might be more interesting, because if you're going to have Adams running bigger routes and you got someone in Garoppolo's face, that's where, Jacoby Myers is going to end up having 7 catches. But this is Kelly for me as well. High over. That's a good play. Jensen had a good question. We're going to pick 2. James Conner, Javonte Williams, Jalen Warren, Zach Moss. Full PPR this week. So Connor, Williams, Warren, Moss.
It is Connor and it is Moss for me.
Ooh, you did that so quick. I'm going to go Connor. I'm also going to go Moss. But is Javonte Williams? Javonte Williams is
it's a good
3.
matchup.
I wish somebody had presented me with a question where I could tell you Jalen Warren. No one's really presenting Jalen Warren questions in a way that I think we can put them in. But yeah, Connor and Moss, I think, is the play here. Just worried about Denver and what Javonte Williams' run is going to look like. So yeah, I agree with you on that. George says Brian Robinson Jr. or Breece Hall PPR.
It is Brian Robinson Jr. We got to try. I mean, you just said it, the volume. Trust the volume. He is operating as a true lead back. They run enough to where, there's work for not fantasy relevant work for Gibson, but everything that is going on with Brian Robinson, just, you got to trust it moving forward. So it's Brian Robinson.
Yeah, the Commanders hate Antonio Gibson. They just they don't want to run him. They don't throw to him. And Brian Robinson looks good. They like him in the red zone. I don't like Washington, and I don't think they're going to play, even though I saw some people love this game for Washington over Buffalo. Maybe I'm wrong. If that's the case, it'll be because of Brian Robinson. Either way, I think Brian Robinson is the safer of the backs that they want out there the whole time. So yeah, I'll go with Brian Robinson. I don't trust Breece quite enough here. Isaac, I'm surprised we haven't seen more of these. We haven't seen enough tight end questions. Kyle Pitts or Sam Laporta half PPR?
I feel like we're not getting the Kyle Pitts questions because everyone has just decided that they can't do it anymore. Yeah. They've been traumatized enough. It's Sam Laporta. Yeah. Sorry, Kyle Pitts. It's Sam Laporta.
It is easy, Sam Laporta. I got Sam Laporta at 7 this week. The consensus rankers have him at 8, and Kyle Pitts is consensus 9. So the people have spoken. So that means Kyle Pitts, 7 catches, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, lock it in, guaranteed, because we are all out on Kyle Pitts. This is what they do. They're going to they're going to pull us back in, and then we're going to have 400 Kyle Pitts questions next week. Kyle Pitts or Mark Andrews. And then Kyle Pitts is going to have 1 catch because that's just guarantee it. Just watch. Tweet me when it happens. All right. Full PPR, hardest flex decision. Oops, this just went up. Hardest flex decision of my life. Gibbs, Connor, Godwin, Lockett, Brian Robinson, Addison, or Gus Edwards. This is the biggest humble. What are you talking about? This is the humblest of humble brags. I have 400 starters. Which one? It's hard because you have all the good players. This is not hard, by the way. This is super easy. And Tara, I mean, I don't know where you're going to go. I think this is incredibly easy, but what say you?
Is it really?
Yeah, it's easy.
It's. I would go with Gibbs, but
it's Gibbs. Of course, it's Gibbs. It's easy.
But it's I get it, Mullet. It was a hard choice because those are a lot of fantastic options.
Yeah. Mullet just wanted. He wanted to be like, hey, everybody, look at all these great players I have. Look at me. I have to bench Lockett and Godwin. It's an easy question. I can't believe. If you really are benching Godwin, Lockett, and Addison, that sounds like your starters. So, but yeah, Gibbs, if it's a flex decision. So good on you for winning your league already. ME says Madison, Lockett, or Shaheed at flex.
Lock it in.
Ooh, Lockett.
Really?
Yeah, because no, it's just the Madison, like, I don't like Madison's going to get, this is his like one opportunity without, I don't think Akers is going to be a force. I don't even know if he's going to be active for this one. That stalled me a little bit, but it's Lockett. Madison stinks. So I'm fine with that. Drew says full PPR, 2 quarterback. They got me with the PPR thing. Quarterback start 2. You got every single week. I feel like I'm getting trolled personally whenever you do hey, I'm at a full PPR. Which quarterback would you start? And I'm like, you son of a, what are you doing? Quarterback start 2, Fields, Carr, Stroud. So this is really Carr or Stroud as your second quarterback. Or maybe you hate Fields and maybe he is benched.
Well, that's the point to which we've got where these questions are all coming on around Fields, and you're getting, am I starting this guy who's ranked 20 over Fields because the pessimism around him is so strong right now. But yeah, you're right. It's Fields for sure. And then between Carr and Stroud, I will take the upside of CJ Stroud.
I think I agree with you. I think I would go with that play as well. So Fields and Stroud. All right, lightning round. We got 5-minute warning here, and then we're going to be all of us together. We'll go as a big group. We'll go party over on the Betting Pros channel for some best bets of the day. So we'll go party over there in about 5 minutes. Lightning round. Roger, full PPR play 2. Rashad White, Miles Sanders, Zach Moss, or Najee Harris. This is White and Sanders.
Rashad and Moss for me.
Moss over Sanders?
Yeah, although I do love this matchup for Miles, but yeah.
Oh, Moss.
Just barely.
Okay.
Just barely.
I mean, you like took the breath out of me with that one.
I
love Miles Sanders this week. Zach Moss is 20 on Fantasy Pros consensus running backs. Ooh, I got to catch my breath. Jameson said, with all the Packers out, pick up Saints to play rather than Dolphins D. So Saints D over Dolphins. I'm down with that, actually.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay, we're together. Algier or Ford, half PPR. That's a first Jerome Ford question we got today. It's crazy. Ford or Algier?
I've been very don't start. Go with Ford. I've been very don't start against the Titans, but at least he is a lead back. So, yeah.
We're going to go with Ford here. Trevor asking Trevor Lawrence or CJ Stroud. You're going to go with Trevor Lawrence. Lock in Trevor Lawrence. Jacob said, should I start D-Hop or Tutu in full PPR? I think we both kind of agreed, like Hopkins, if he's out, you're good to go. Don't think about Tutus.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Xbox Wizard, Amon-Ra St. Brown or Chris Godwin. I guess this is like people worried about that questionable tag with Amon-Ra today, but it's Amon-Ra.
Yeah, it's still Amon-Ra. And I think he got cleared. It's good to go. So, Amon-Ra.
Alan said Dobbs or Mike Thomas PPR. That's a good one.
It is. It is a really good one. I will take the Christian Watson out, even though I dislike the matchup with the Saints defense, and there's a chance that he could get locked down. I will still go with the potential upside of Dobbs as the wide receiver 1. Although if you need a safe floor, that Mike Thomas floor is looking pretty solid.
Samesies. I'm going with Dobbs. Cody said Jerome Ford or Gabe Davis flex full PPR. I'm going to go with Jerome.
I'm going with Gabe Davis. I know it's not an ideal matchup, and theoretically we're coming off the Gabe Davis boom week, so there should be a Gabe Davis bust week, but I will still go with Gabe Davis.
Tess said, good morning. I need one of the following RB and wide receivers, standard scoring Miles Sanders or Kelly. So I don't know. You hate both of these players. You hate both of these running backs. Josh Kelly and Miles Sanders. These are your garbage pile. Which piece of garbage are you taking?
Chris is branding me as the fantasy hater. Several running backs. It is very, very close, but I think I prefer in standard league. I think I lean towards going with Joshua Kelly.
I think I do too. And then wide receiver, London or Dotson?
Again, standard league. We got the London touchdown, but we've been missing these Dotson touchdowns. I feel like this might be a good opportunity this week for that Dotson touchdown. London is probably the slightly safer bet. So I will lean that direction, but I would not be shocked if we get that Dotson touchdown this week.
I'm going with London. Hal hates Jahan Dotson. He absolutely hates him, will not target him. So I'll go with London because of those end zone targets we're seeing. Ertz or Ingram, full PPR tight end?
Ingram.
It is, you know what? Okay, Ingram. But Ertz is like a tight end 1 this week because he gets massive. I think it's 23 targets or whatever. 40p says, good morning, Tara and Welsh. This may be a bro-worthy question, but full PPR pick 2, AJ Brown, Jamar Chase, or Zay Flowers. Come on.
You get a pass because of the Jamar Chase situation. This is I get it. This is painful, obviously, because we're looking at the prospect of, I don't think Burrow's playing. I don't. So I get it. I understand why you had to ask this question. I will still go with AJ Brown and Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
because you can't bench Jamar Chase, but you were not too bro-ish to ask this because of the situation. I give you a pass.
Question. All right, super lightning round. Warren, Gus Edwards.
Gus Edwards.
Pacheco or Dylan? Standard. I go Dylan.
I can't lightning round that.
You have to.
Pacheco.
Let's see. I'm trying to get Minshew or Love?
Love.
Last one. Oh, I have to probably answer. I'll go with Love as well. Pickens, Judy, Addison, rank 'em. I'll go Pickens, Addison, Judy.
I have the listed order. Pickens, Judy, Addison.
That's what you're going to do. All right, friends, that is going to do it. But we want to remind you that this episode was brought to you by Jack Link's Protein Snacks. No better way that you can enjoy the game today. From jerky to the beef sticks to the steaks and more, Jack Link's 100% beef in a wild assortment of delicious flavors. You can go and pick them up today, jacklinks.com, or just get off your butt before the games start and go and pick up some today. Feed your wild side. Do that. Tara, it's Tara time. At Is It The Welsh. Those are the Twitters. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Hopefully we were able to get you guys in a good spot. Betting Pros. Go over there. There's bets to be had. I'm going to be getting on my phone and locking in the last couple props. If you're on the Betting Pros app as well, you can follow me. You can follow Erickson. You follow a bunch of people. You can see what we're betting. You can tail us. And there's a gajillion things more you can do. So make sure you go and check that out. That's going to do it for the stream. Good luck on all of your matchups this week. Welsh, Tara, we're out of here. Peace, friends.